Jumbo, hello everybody, and a very warm welcome to our morning safari from the Maasai Mara. We got some buffaloes and very beautiful scenery for you. My name is David. Welcome aboard to your very own safari, live from the African bush. Well, as I said, great scenery we got there, the savannah. You can see a hot air balloon on the horizon there. That's our eastern horizon. The sun is already up, and it's a rather cold morning here in the Maasai Mara. 16 degrees Celsius or 61 degrees Fahrenheit. My name is David, and on camera with me this morning is Bungay. We're very excited to start with such a beautiful scenery, and we've got loads and loads of buffaloes for you at one point, which are grazing in these low temperatures. And remember, we're coming to you live, and should you have any questions or comments, please send them through, and you can do that by tweeting to us hashtag CGTNWorld, or you can use hashtag WorldEarth. For the kids, you can email us kidsquestions@worldearth.tv. We would also love to hear from you. A huge herd of buffaloes there that are just grazing. And if you look carefully, you're going to see some small white birds either flying or in the grass there. And they benefit from the insects that get disturbed by these big mammals as they walk through the grass. Quite overcast here in the Mara. As you can see, the sun is already up, but it's not sunny. It's just because it's an overcast morning, and we're hoping things are going to get better and warm up. And my big plans this morning, apart from the buffaloes we are watching now, is to go and search for some lions for you.
And welcome. A very good morning, everyone, and welcome to the river. I'm already here. I've been parked, ready to bring you these live broadcasts. Good morning. My name is Isaac, and on camera I have Big James. Already we are at the river, ready to show you what's going to happen here. Looks like we have a few wildebeest approaching from a distance. Remember to talk to us on hashtag CGTNWorld, hashtag WorldEarth. Questions and comments are very welcome. It's a beautiful time of day here in the Mara, and looks like I have the first few wildebeest approaching the river. It's nice and cool. No, the sun hasn't come out yet. It has come out somewhere, but we haven't seen it. So it's overcast, which is pleasant for everybody. The river is flowing. Our resident hippos are here. I can see a lone one at the moment, but we have a few more quite farther up. Maybe they'll be joining each other. Looks like they came in very early this morning. There's no much happening. The crocodiles are not out. Actually, I'm just sitting here enjoying the sound of the water and looking at the flow of the river. Yes, we are here waiting for a crossing. Hopefully it will happen later on. There are the other hippos. You can see them there. There is also a crocodile to the left. The rapids are slightly not as strong, so it means the river has gone down slightly. And the main aim here is to see if we can catch a crossing before my time ends, and hopefully it will happen. As James showed you, we have a good number of wildebeest gathering across, and we hope that they will be coming down. Remember, yesterday there was a bit of a drama when after the crossing, two lionesses appeared. I don't know if you guys saw that, but they appeared and they're hiding somewhere. We don't know where. So it's going to be very exciting. It's going to be, I think, one of a kind crossing when they do cross. So it's going to be quite a unique crossing if the lionesses cross and the lioness appear. And while we're on this, it will be nice to learn more about what is really the Mara migration.
From the southern plains of the Serengeti, over 1 million grazers move northwest through the western corridor, gathering along the banks of the Grumeti River. Once the chaos of the rut comes to an end, the herds gallop north once again. In time, more than 2 million animals amount to feast on the abundance the Mara has to offer. But the reward of the red oat grass does not come easy. The zebra vanguard is the first on the banks, taking the plunge into the treacherous Mara River in order to reach the untouched long grass plains on the other side. Not only must they face the turbulent waters, but also the crocodiles, gliding through the rapids in anticipation. Then comes the body of the migration, the thundering herds of the white-bearded wildebeest, with their bleats echoing through the landscape while in search for greener pastures. Hunger, so too are the lions of the Mara, who patrol the banks of the river. The risks are known, but the herds are determined. All must make the leap. Some will fall, but for the survivors, the lush greenery that awaits is bountiful. And then, as is nature's way, it comes the time to cross the river again as they continue to follow the life-giving storms and nourishing plains.
The Mara is the most incredible of places, and I am so happy to be back, everyone. We have a surprise for you, but I just quickly want to introduce myself. I am Lauren, and I have Theo on camera today, and look who we have for you. Good morning. There was a head, there was a small little head, the cubby is there, and with this very, very full belly. My goodness, I have not seen a belly that full in a long time, Corky. What did you eat? Oh, hello. Oh my goodness. Oh, thank you everyone. You're welcoming me back, and I'm glad to be back. It's not chilly at all. It's very pleasant, and this cannot be Corky's cub, everyone. Please tell me I'm imagining things. Theo's saying it's not. It's not. Why have you changed so much? Yes, we all see you. Of course this was going to be the first place I come. Oh my goodness, I think it is. The coloration change on you, little one. Many of you are saying adorable, I know. The last time I saw this little one was when it was tiny and completely black. I don't know the last time you all saw it, but this little monkey here is changing. And many of you were concerned that it was too small, and yes, it is small, especially in comparison to Corky's little ones. But that's because of the rank of the mother. Although Corky is absolutely ballooning with what could be an elephant inside her tummy right now, Corks will not get as... Oh, there's another hyena incoming. I just want to see this interaction. We may not get a view right now. It's directly over my head. Just want to see what happens here. This is den site number 2, everyone. This is Philemon's Dip Den 2, and my favorite one. I think this is in Joma, everyone. I could be wrong. Please correct me if I am wrong. But Corky did not engage at all there. She is far too full that she can barely move. I can't believe the change in the cub. Oh, tail up, a little bit dominance there from Joma. There must be activity, I think, at the other den as well. I think that Corky is here and the other ones are at the other den. So I'm going to reposition and enjoy this moment.
Good morning, everyone. Here at Juma, private game reserve, we had a beautiful bull elephant. We just find them. The stand is hyena also so beautiful, but for them to play around, with their mother, if they mother around the mound, is an interesting thing. Good morning, everyone. My name's Andrew, behind the camera, BK. Just be talking about these bull elephants around here. Looks like he's going to be feeding around. Just going to follow him a little bit to see how he does. Looks like there's a single bull, which often that happen. Male elephants, they are very elusive sometimes. It comes to a big bull like this, and you're operating alone. It happens sometimes, the other's not far away. Just gonna see.
And also the buffaloes, the bulls, when they get very old, you'll tend to see them living on their own. Now, like this one buffalo here, he's in a big group. These are the same buffaloes we were watching before. But as they age up, we have always noticed the females sometimes will show them the door. When you look at buffaloes like this, and maybe should you decide to walk through to get close to these buffaloes, chances are you may manage and maybe come out, safe without being touched by the buffaloes. But when they get old like this, like the two males you see there, and they stay on their own, they're always very dangerous and they become very, very grumpy. No wonder the two are on their own, and the females, or rather the cows, will be in the middle there with the youngsters or with their calves. You can see the same egrets, the white birds you see there, walking the grass. Chris, an average weight of a buffalo is about 600 kilograms. We're talking about 1,300 pounds in general, and those could be the big boys. Sometimes they may go up to 700 kilograms, Chris, and those are the big males. Females are not as heavy, but the average weight of buffaloes is about 600 kilograms or 1,300 pounds. And this is the African Cape buffalo. You can see the males will always have bigger horns, heavier, because they definitely need them to fight and defend themselves. The same white birds you see here, when you go to our villages where we come from, you'll always see them tag along with the cows, and no wonder we call them the cattle egrets. Maybe it's time we call them the buffalo egrets here in the Mara. But apart from the buffaloes, you'll also see them in the midst of other mammals, like elephants. Very occasionally you see them with rhinos, and more so the white rhinos. Right, I'll continue with my earlier plans of trying to look for some lions.
Good morning and welcome to And Beyond Gala. We are sitting here with Ed feeding in a tree. What a nice thing to find first thing in. My name is Marna, and with me behind the camera is Gert. So, for those of you that tuned in yesterday, you might have seen this leopard in the tree, her and her mother. This is what we're currently looking at, is the cub. And there isn't much left of this carcass. If you look closely, you'll see it's pretty much just the head. We haven't seen the mother yet, but she's probably around here somewhere. Quite surprised that they're still around. We thought that they might finish this last night. Thank you so much for all the the welcome wishes. Yeah, what a nice way to start. Beginner's luck, I guess. So you can see she's quite aware. She keeps looking around, and there is another vehicle with us in the sighting. And they mentioned that there are 1 or 2 hyenas. Oh, as I said, that there's actually a hyena passing us on the right here. There we go. So you often find that hyenas will be around the base of a tree if a leopard has a carcass up in the branches. So they'll just be waiting for any scraps to fall down, so they can take and eat that. Or sometimes they might even drop the whole carcass, and the hyenas will be ready to steal that. So that's why she's looking around. Do I have a favorite leopard at Ngala? I actually do. It's not this one, even though she's also very special. But there is a young male on the property, which we call the Makoti male. If you've been watching this show, I'm sure you would have seen him on air. But he is quite a special leopard. I really liked his mother, and yeah, but he's still around, and hopefully we'll find him one of these days. She actually blends in with that tree really well. Quite a few hyenas at the base of the tree now. They're just milling around there. I think we'll stick around here and see what happens.
Look at this precious moment, everyone. I cannot get over this cub. It was a little black bear that I saw it, so it is growing. It's so much bigger. The way it's walking, its whole mobility has changed. Its whole sort of movement has changed because it's getting older and it's getting stronger. It's getting lighter. Now, normally around 3 months, give or take, that's when you find that the cubs will be light enough to see the spot pattern. So the spot pattern's always there, everyone, but you just can't see it because the cubs are so dark. Now, it's when the cub starts to lighten, the rest of the hair starts to lighten, that the spot pattern emerges. And we actually found, well, Corky's cub was first seen on the 1st of July. And I wonder if it was actually so much younger than we originally... I'm just going to turn that Game Drive radio down, than we originally anticipated. And because Ribbon had 2 already in the den, I'm wondering if that's why we saw this little one a little bit sort of younger than we normally would. Normally a mother would keep the cub stashed at a natal den until 4 weeks, but I'm wondering, because Corks is a low ranker, if we actually started to see this one a little bit earlier because she stashed it with the other cubs in order for safety. Corky's a low ranker, remember, the lowest. So the 1st of July, and it's now, of course, the 5th of September. So the cub was already a few weeks old when we first started to see it. This could be approaching the 3-month mark now. You can hear the squittering. But the advantage that this little cub has is that it's on its own. It maybe was part of a twin litter. That's possible. But due to the fact that we only saw one, we can't speculate what happened. Hyenas normally give birth to 2, so it could have had a sibling, it could have had a litter mate who maybe didn't make it. The sort of survival rate of hyena cubs is actually very, very low, believe it or not. And all the hyenas are full. The other den number 3, is active, but we can't go there right now because there's vehicles there. So everybody's full, so something went down last night. Hey, little one, everyone's saying how cute you are. Look how tall it's getting. Look, its long back legs. I mean, hyenas have a strange body shape anyway, but it's, oh my goodness, I cannot believe this. And you see the spots are just starting to emerge on the neck. Or appear, sorry, emerge is not the right word because they're already there. It won't be long until this entire little body changes colour. If you look at the comparison to Corky, she's very light, with a touch of fawn. Adult hyena. And then, of course, you look at this little one. You can see how dark it is. Oh, this is so precious. Okay, I'm going to sit here for now, but as soon as I get a chance, I am going to go to the other den.
Hello, and welcome back to the Mara River. I am here parked at the same spot, and my hippos are still very fast asleep. It looks like they have a routine where they come to the water and then somebody maybe takes a roll call, make sure they are there, and then they head out towards the bank on the other side to have the long needed rest. Same time, the crocodile is parked looking on the entry and exit of the crossing. I don't know if it's one that hasn't eaten because he's very out early. He is the only one. He might have, he might have not eaten, and he's here just because he's in need of, some wildebeest or zebra steak. Yes, and looking where we can look. Ha! Look over there. There is a slight movement of some gnu. Yes, but that is the wrong direction. It gives me hope to see that they are still confused. They might come towards the river when the confusion confuses them and they head towards the river. This is a behavior that we see here at the river, where sometimes it looks like they are looking for a volunteer to tell them which direction to go, or a leader to come out and say, it's time to go and we need to cross now. But there's always Sky, good morning. I don't know what time it is there. Since we saw them yesterday, there's no guarantee that they are here or not. It's a matter of us only to see them so that we can tell you if they are here or not. But they have a big territory. There is a lot of food everywhere. They could be here, they could be gone. It is hard for me to say where they are. I haven't seen any other vehicle at the crossing. I'm the only one. I think everybody got their dose of crossing yesterday, and so nobody's coming here. And so I'm the only one. Until I see them, Sky, then I'll be able to tell you where they are. But at the moment, they're not here. Yes, confusion has taken them back towards the river. Remember, this is an animal that is the highlight of this time. The white-bearded gnu. It's a migratory animal migrating from the southern Serengeti, the plains of Olduvai Gorge, close to Ngorongoro crater, where they give birth, and they come all the way here to wean their calves, sometimes mate here, and making their journey back to be in southern Serengeti by the months of January, February, March, where they give birth. About 8,000 young ones are born every day for a period of about 2 months, and immediately, they are about 3 months old, they start their journey up to the Maasai Mara. The reason they do this is there are so many, they need a lot of grass to, feed all of them, so they're always and constantly on the move. And when they get here, it is decision. Who is gonna go fast? This river is full of crocodiles, and from past experience, I'm sure they know that if they cross, one might get taken, and nobody wants to be the one to be taken. So there's always a standoff, a discussion, and it's always very difficult to know when they are going to go until they touch water, and also, it's very difficult to tell what time.
And welcome back. We are still with this female leopard feeding in the tree. I just want to warn sensitive viewers, this is quite a gruesome scene as we zoom in a little bit closer. So she's still feeding on what's left of this impala. It seems to be just the head, but she's really opened it up there. Stripped all the skin off, and every now and again you'll hear the bone, or her crushing the bone as well, pulling it apart. Notice her face covered in blood as well. A few minutes ago she actually almost dropped that head, but then luckily caught it. She would have had to say goodbye to it if that was the case. The hyenas are ready and waiting. So how we know that this is the cub, as you can see, she is quite big already compared to her mother. You can definitely, when they're next to each other, you can see the size difference. But up in the tree, she actually looks quite big. But how we could tell is we looked at her nose. Now, I don't know if you can see it at the moment, but maybe when she turns her head slightly again, you might be able to see that she's got a pink nose. I know the face is also, there we go, you can just see that her nose is still very pink. So as she ages, that nose will turn black. So her mother's nose is completely black, and that's how you can tell that it's still a young leopard. She's about 1.5 years old at this stage. Nikki, I don't know if you've seen a house cat cleaning themselves, but it is pretty much the same process. By licking, you'll see them licking their paws, and they'll just groom themselves. She'll almost like wipe her face with her paws and keep licking. Yeah, and they're generally quite neat and very clean. And if she comes down, I'm sure her mother is around here, and they'll groom each other as well. So her mom will help her clean up. Her tail, the tip of the tail is actually just wrapped around like a little branch there. Just look at that. It's quite a tough spot that she's in as well. And it's amazing how comfortable these leopards are in trees. You can see how she's adjusting the back legs. Ooh, now you can actually, I don't know if you guys can hear that, but you can hear her chewing. Oh, she's got the ear there. Trying to get that down.
How wonderful to see a leopard in the morning, and above all, to see one having breakfast with herself. Now, I got an interesting story here, because I got a stock that is not on land, and I'm thinking it's standing on a hippo. If you look carefully, you can see the ears, the eyes of the hippo, and this wood stock here doesn't bother the hippo at all, which I thought, or which I think is a very interesting relationship they got. We have already seen hippos and crocodiles getting so close by riverbanks or by lakes sometimes, but the first time I'm seeing this yellow-billed stock that I guess she is feeding and enjoying the comfort of a hippo's head. I do not know how many other animals the hippo would allow. Oops, are you getting too heavy? Hippo, could you have been asleep maybe? Look at her. Look at her just walking, on the body of the back of the hippo. Yeah, she jumps and maybe she cannot trust the hippo anymore. Now she must be in water now, and that's why maybe she has lost her balance a little bit, that you see her flapping her wings. Ron, I don't know exactly how strong could be the PSI of a hippo, and not like of a hyena. I would say hyena has very, very high PSI. I'll be finding out for you, Ron, maybe how strong the bite of a hippo is. But one of its best defenses, or when it's dealing with its enemies, they bite very hard. With their ivory teeth, which are long and strong, especially the canines, I would say it's quite high. It's quite high. I'll be finding out for you exactly how heavy or how big the bite would be. And I was thinking it could be less than a hyena, but on a quick think, it's not. I think they got a high PSI than of a hyena of about 1,800. Will you believe that? 1,800, very close to a crocodile, which is about 2,200. So, Ron, imagine 1,800 pounds per square inch on your body. It could very quickly just crush this hornbill here. I mean, 1,800 psi to me is quite high, a lot more than of a hyena. But I think looking at the body size of a hippo, that makes a lot of sense. Maybe this hornbill, this stock may go back to the back of the hippo for more feeding. And that was an interesting story. Well, I need to continue my plans earlier of looking for the lions.
Beautiful. Indeed, with a strong bite of this hippo. And here we got plain zebra. It looks like when we get here, there were also a wildebeest around us. And this is how zebras are all about. Wildebeest also is all about. So these two species, they get along, feed together, and no fight. Which, when it comes to the feeding, is no. So sorry. when it comes to the feeding, it's not such a competition, which you find zebra, they'll prefer tip end of grass, tall, and the wildebeest will go medium, which means if the zebra go first, the wildebeest, they will take shot then. So there's still no debate on whether somebody is taking a lot of grasses and might not get nothing. But look how this spot of this zebra will blend in. Remember now's collective of zebras called dazzle. So dazzle was meant to be how the stripe will look, and for camouflage. So when in the wood, they will blend in with this stripe. But if they were only black, they would be visible, or if they were white, also they will be visible. So this stripe builds so much of a well camouflage in this animal. Looking at us. They seem very relaxed, and I don't think they've seen our beautiful Tingana around here. We've been looking this morning, but they seem very, very chill out here. Indeed, zebra is so beautiful. I love zebra as well. Look at these beautiful ears and the mane along that neck standing right up. Indicate that these animals are healthy. Remember, when that mane fall off or fall aside, that animal, is sick, something wrong with it. So mainly this is how you can tell when that animal, it's healthy or not. Helen, yes, indeed they do. So zebra, they form such a massive group. I've seen a number of probably 30 in one area. But then you have a lot of these stallions, different from different group, but they're not territorial. So there, since the power of this stallion, one is going to be maybe a dominate, or you got few dominate in that mix of the group. But eventually after that mixture, each group will move on their own, which means each stallion maybe will take on their own group. But yeah, they do form group, and it's no problem about that. They love one another, take care of one another, they even groom one another. So remember, they have both canine and a top canine teeth like horses or donkey. We leave them.
We are surrounded by the Juma clan, but I have good news, everyone, and an apology. That was not Corky. I kept saying to Theo, that's not Corky. It's Heart. That little cub you saw was Heart's first ever cub. It's not Corky's one. I'm so sorry. I've just came back and I have not seen the Juma clan for a long time. So we're surrounded by 7 members, Ribbons 2, and Corky's little one, because we're at a different den. So we've got Swazi. Look at the den entrance. Oh, I'm so sorry, everyone. I just thought that little cub could only be Corky's. And then as I got closer, it's not got Corky's normal tear in her left ear. And it's Heart. Heart has a cub. Oh, I'm not allowed to squeal. I shall not squeal. Theo can put up with the squealing later. But that means we have 4 cubs in the Juma clan now, everyone. So that little cub that we can't spend time with anymore because there's no adult there is in a different den, and it belongs to Heart, who we believe is number 3 in the hierarchy. It goes from Ribbon at the top. There's Ribbon. Look at her glorious, magnificent physique. Oh my goodness, I do not know what these hyenas have had, but every single one of them is bulging. So it goes from Ribbon to her daughter and Joma, who's in a very good position because it's her daughter. And then you've got Heart. And that little cup we just saw is the first time anyone's managed to see it. Oh, that makes so much... Oh, we've got someone incoming. Hello, you look very full and smelly. They've stolen. Can you smell that delightful aroma, Theo? Are you enjoying it? It does not smell very good, everyone. So far, we've got Swazi, Ribbon, and Joma, Heart, Mama Heart, and I need to figure out who else we've got. Oh my goodness, the cub is... Oh no, it's going to do what it did the last time. Look, it's trying to take it to the den. Look how big Ribbon's tour getting. Everyone, we've got June. Sorry, June's coming in. June. We've not had June at the den in so long. This one. Nope. Theo, this one. Floppy-eared June. She was seen on the dam cam last night. I have not had a sighting of June at this den. And she's here. This is such an incredible morning. Oh, the cub's about to take it in. I cannot believe the entire clan are here to welcome me back. This is amazing. Wow. Little one, I do not recommend you take that inside. That's not going to be pleasant. Les? Excuse me. We're getting hit with the most... Theo, if you thought this was going to be a relaxing morning, you were wrong. My goodness, Ribbon is... Oh, it's a leg. It's a buffalo. It's a buffalo. They've stolen a buffalo. I bet you it was from the lions. There's lion tracks. The Juma crew, the sort of team from Juma are tracking lions. They've stolen a buffalo. That's why they're all so full. Oh my goodness, this is an incredible morning. And the smell is really, I'm definitely not going to eat my peanut butter and banana here, that's for sure. So Les, you were asking about survival rate, I believe. And because of the unique genitals of the female, the sort of pseudo-penis is actually twice as long as in other mammals. So it's obviously not a penis, it's a pseudopenis, and it's twice as long and it's very narrow. It's normally just about 1 inch in diameter. And what that means is there's a high risk for the mothers and high risk for the cubs. And they do say about 60% of the cubs suffocate on their way out. And I'm not sure of the actual percentage for mothers, but a lot of them do die. It's not as high as 60%, that's for sure. But it's such a feat for them to give birth due to these factors that I just mentioned. And the birthing process overall can just be fatal. So there's a very high death rate for first-time mothers, but I'm not actually sure of the percentage. I will try and find that. Ribbon's been very bossy. Everybody's hyper. Got June. Who are you with? June and Heart. Look at this. This is June and Heart, I think. We didn't know where June sort of sat on this hierarchy. We were not ever sure because we never witnessed her presence here. I still think she's above Corky. In my opinion, I think it goes ribbon and Djuma, heart, June, then corks. I think this entire clan have devoured a whole buffalo. Theo and I are going to sit here and endure this wonderful smell.
And welcome back. We are still sitting with this little lady up in the tree. Seems like she's just finished feeding and she's actually cleaning herself at the moment. In the interim, the hyenas actually got lucky. She dropped a piece of that head that she was feeding on. So they also had something to eat. But this might be quite interesting. There is one hyena at the base of the tree. So if she finishes cleaning herself, she might want to come down. And then it's going to be interesting to see what happens between the leopard and the hyena. We just noticed that there's the hyena. You can just see the ear through the bushes. Patiently waiting. So we noticed that there was actually another piece of the impala left behind her. Sky, how did I get into guiding? I've always loved the outdoors, and I used to be an overlanding guide for a few years, and after that I went and worked in an office, and I guess that's where I realized that I needed to be in the bush, and that's the place for me. So after that I decided to go do my field guide training, and here I am. I've been at and beyond Ngala for almost 5 years now. And it has been an absolute treat. This really is a magical piece of property. Still just cleaning and grooming herself. That branch she's sitting on is still covered in blood. She's going to have to give herself a really good clean. The back legs and the tail as well. So as mentioned earlier, we were chatting about how the leopards clean and groom themselves, and now here we have an example of that. And you can see it's very similar to the way that a domestic cat will clean itself. Alright, let's see. What is she gonna do? Oh, beautiful. Look at those eyes. Now you can notice that pink nose I was pointing out earlier as well. Long white whiskers. And back to cleaning. She really is a beautiful leopard, I must agree. But, you know, I think any leopard, leopards are, that's the epitome of beauty, I'd say. I've never met an ugly leopard.
All has calmed down here except the smell. Kai cow, we've got. Comet, got. So I don't think I've managed to ID everybody, but I've definitely, well, I'm getting there. Few have left, probably because Ribbon was getting very dominant, very aggressive. The tail was up and sort of chasing people away. I cannot believe they have a buffalo. Even the little cubs were astonishingly full. I can't believe we found Hart. I can't believe Hart's got a cub. That cub must be about 2 months old. Lisa, I have no idea how I could possibly answer that question. It's really difficult to tell when animals are pregnant, but I think what you're referring to is her huge bulbous tummy from the buffalo. Hyenas, as we can see, let's take a look at Ribbon, this one here. Theo. She is panting so heavily. Now, if you didn't know hyenas, you would probably think that Ribbon was pregnant. And she's not, because she's got 2 little ones. Oh, hello. Is that you, Sutu? Well, you're not as full as the others, I must say. We've now got Sutu on the scene. Sutu is June's daughter, actually. This small little one here, not so small, but definitely a sub-adult, is June's daughter. So I really don't think that June is pregnant. She's just incredibly full. Hyenas gorge themselves because they never know when their next meal is coming. So just like us when we're at a big meal and we maybe need to undo that top button or maybe the top 2. It's a similar thing. They're so full, they're going to lie here most of the day. I imagine when it gets hotter, they'll go into the shade, but they're going to be here all day resting and digesting. So I don't think June is pregnant. So the hyena clan is just changing so much. They've changed our matriarch and now we've got 4 brand new cubs. So let's go and learn more about this wonderful clan.
The termite mounds of the Western Kruger are a hive of activity for the spotted hyena. Hard as concrete and dry for the most part, they are the perfect shelter for vulnerable cubs. Hyena mothers will move their dens from time to time, often as a result of crowding or unwanted attention from other predators. These dens are unique havens of safety for one of Africa's most versatile carnivores. Now that Ribbon is the matriarch, she has birthed 2 cubs. Having taken her family to the top, these 2 will enjoy the advantages of the upper echelons of the clan. Claiming first dibs on any takeaway meals they can get their paws on. The former matriarch, Corky, is still part of the clan, a position we were unsure of until finally meeting her new cub at the communal den. Now a subordinate female, she may feed away from the den, bringing food to her cub in the form of milk. Growing up with its now higher-ranked cousins, Corky's cub is destined for a life at the lower end of the ranking, having to wait for meals and possibly being bullied by its cousins. For now, these cubs seem to be getting along just fine, but only time will tell how the hierarchical structure of this clan will impact their relationship.
The dynamics of the Juma clan. Oh, there's a little one coming out. Corky, this is Corky's little one. Oh, no, we're back inside again. It's too scary. There's too many hyenas. We've got everybody here. And Ribbon and Ngwazi. Shimbulu's napping his head out. Hello, Shimbulu. Ribbon's 2 are coming out. They are also really full. They will still be in milk, though. Ribbon's definitely still lactating and they will still suckle, but of course they're snacking on bits of meat as it goes along. So this in front of us, we have Ribbon standing up, the matriarch, with her 2 little ones who are getting so big so fast. and they will follow their mother's behavior. Because their mother is the matriarch and she will be acting dominant, she will be in control of the entire clan, these little ones will also learn from that. They will learn that they are also dominant. They've been born with the silver spoon in their mouth, and they will slowly start to exert their dominance over all the other hyenas in the clan. It's learned behavior from observations. Mama is doing this, so I am now going to do this. And they get away with it. Almost like the royal family. You're born with your rank. You're born with that silver spoon. Your mama's the queen, then hey, you become the prince or the princess. Corky's little ones there, Theo, and the face is getting lighter. It's not so much that black bear anymore. There's now 4 cubs in the Juma clan. I can't believe it. So such a magnificent moment.
And welcome back. We are still with the leopard, and you've just tuned in on at the right moment. She has finished grooming and she is now coming down the tree. Still see the tail there. She has been moving around, kind of calculating her next move. Look at that. Holding on with those sharp claws of her. That's quite an awkward position she's in at the moment. Oh, and the hyena is right below her. I think that's why she's pausing. Just calculating her next move. Let's see what she does. When she was still a little bit higher up, she was calling. So we think she was calling her mother. We haven't seen the mom yet. Now what? So the hyenas aren't phased though. The hyena that's below her is, well, kind of looks like it's fast asleep. But I'm sure when she jumps down, it'll get up. We've been hearing, I don't know if you could hear that now, there's a grey go-away bird calling in the distance, and that might be the mom approaching. Here we go. She's trying to find the best route down. It's quite tricky. Oh. Oh, jeez. She's like an acrobat. Right. Kathy, can they ever fall out of the trees? They surely can. But in general, leopards are quite sure-footed. I have seen a leopard fall out of a tree, but he seemed okay after the fall. But in general, they're quite comfortable up in trees. And yeah, they usually manage to hold their balance quite well. Well, she just growled at the hyena and then decided not to go down. Like I said, the hyena's not phased at all. Quite a tough view through these bushes. Let's see, looking at us now. She's probably quite thirsty, after having that big meal. Come on, jump down. There we go. And she's off. Hyenas didn't even get up. Alright, let's see. Oh, and she's running away. Alright, I think we'll loop around and see if we can keep up with her. Maybe she'll join up with her mother.
Oh, what an incredible morning. Honestly, I still can't get my head around the fact that we just found Hart with a cub. Really, and I just automatically assumed it would be Corky. We've spoke about Hart a lot. This will be Hart's first cub, and she's obviously in a very good position in the clan now because she's very, very close with Ribbon and with two of the little ones. So she's in a very sort of good state. She's not the most dominant, but she's still high ranking. And she's actually the daughter of Gwen, an old hyena who's no longer with us. And Soul is Hart's litter mate. Soul has now joined the Elephant's Plains clan. He's a male, so he's gone, but we still sometimes see him. And we think that Hart was born around February 2015. So that would make Hart 5 now. Yes, a little over 5. So she should be having cubs. Maybe she's had a litter before that we didn't realize and she lost them. That's very, very possible. And there was a little bit of recovery time. So we've now got Hart's cub at a different den who is not with these ones. So the mystery continues. We've got Ngwazi and Shimbulu here, who we first found on the 27th of March. Very, very young. So April, May, June, July, August, September. There we go, Lauren. Very quick maths. Almost 6 months. So they're getting very old and they're huge. Then we've got Corky's little one inside who's tiny. Now what I think has happened here, and this is just my opinion, is that we found Corky's cub far too young. I think Corky, because of her position, actually used this den, Philemon's Dip Den 3, as her natal den, which is not normal. The reason we've not seen Hart's cub is because it was probably stashed in a natal den and she's only just starting to introduce it now. So I think Corky had this cub very sort of secretly and then stashed it in this den to become the natal den, which means when we first saw Corky's cub, it was very, very young. It was definitely under the normal 4-week mark. It possibly could have only been 1 or 2 weeks. So one, that's another reason it's so small. And the second reason is Corky is just at the bottom of the pile, and that's just how it is. Her milk will be nowhere near nutritious or delicious as the other hyenas. It's not getting strong enough. Chris, you're asking if Hart's cub is a girl. We have obviously no way of knowing this at the moment. Will it rank higher than Ribbon's cub? Most likely not. Females do rank higher than males, but when it comes to the matriarch's pair, they are still very high ranking. They are obviously just under their mother, or possibly just under Intima, actually, and they're in a very good position. There's lots of science now. There's a recent paper that just came out about sort of the role of males, and if you stay within your natal clan, which only 3% of males do, you're still in a good position. You're still going to be able to be very, very dominant. You're still going to get great access to food, but that's going to sort of be compromised with your reproductive benefits because none of the females will mate with you. So if you choose to stay, you're probably not going to get many mating opportunities or sort of continue your bloodline, but you are still going to be quite dominant. So if Hart's cub was female, maybe when it gets older, it will become more dominant over the 2 boys. But as a cub, it will not be. The 2 boys are in a very good position at this stage. And normally males do decide to leave the clan or immigrate around 2 years old. That's the sort of average age. And it benefits the males to leave, just as Soul did. Soul used to be part of this clan, Hart's litter mate, and he's now with the Elephant Plains clan because there's more benefits that way. But as Hart's cub, if it's a female, gets older, then yes, it would become in a much better position than Ribbon's too. I'm hoping we get a better view of Corky's little one very soon.
Welcome back to the river, everyone, and there hasn't been much progress, although it doesn't mean that it's the end of the world and there is no crossing. It means it's just this minute. The next minute can totally be very, very different. My resident hippos looks like they're still counting themselves, making sure that they're all there. Then maybe they're going to go out into the beach. The current is not as strong, so I think it's much to sleep in the water today. And what are we gonna have a look, James? Do we have something? Yeah, we have one croaky. Warren, good morning, how are you? You ask how many, or what type of fish we find in the Mara River. I think I have counted about 5. We get silverfish. It's a sort of tilapia-like, very silverish on the scales, but very bony to eat. We got the long-snouted fish, or the elephant fish. It's got a very funny-looking long snout. It's pointed downwards, so I think it's a bottom feeder. We have the catfish. We have the mudfish. And then what else do we have? I think there's one more that I've forgotten, but I had done a research sometimes, and there were 5, but I've mentioned 4. I will remember the last one. It's been a long time since anybody asked me that question, but those are the kind of fish we find here. And I tell you, the catfish here are so big, it's unbelievable. I once saw a carcass where the crocodiles were feeding. Then all of a sudden a crocodile just shot up, and it had this enormous gigantic catfish. I think it was about 4 feet, must have weighed maybe even 14-15 kilos. It was huge. So they are very big because there is enough to eat here. There is a lot of food to eat for them here. They eat meat as well as a lot of droppings from the hippos. Yes, I have a crocodile there, and I think he's the first of many that we're going to see. He's come out to get some much needed sun. They're cold-blooded. They need to warm their body temperatures so that they can be able to move much faster. I don't know what's happening, but let's have a look. Oh, we have 2 more. They just came out. Well, I couldn't see 3 actually. Look at those monsters. They're 3, 4. Yes, they're 4. Look at the sizes of these guys. They've been eating so well. This is one Nile crocodile. It's one native to East Africa. It's the only one of its kind we find here, and they get so big they're intimidating. They can weigh up to a ton and can be as long as almost 21 feet. These guys are the real predators of these rivers, especially the Mara River. And over where I am, they are in big numbers. We're just seeing about 5 there, or 5, yeah. But I tell you, there's so many. It's unbelievable, and they've been eating so well. But to the left there, I have cattle egret and a spawing plover. They're happy to be very close to the crocs because they're not on the menu. They're too small to be eaten. But I'm sure they're eating maybe scraps dropped by the wildebeest while running. They might have dropped some ticks or other things. Yeah. Yes, I'm gonna keep watching this spawing plover and these crocodiles and wait for something to happen.
Talking about waiting of something to happen, nothing is happening here. And I don't think very much is going to happen here because everyone is, well, you can't say flat cat, can you? Because they're not cats. They're hyenas. Belonging to Hyenidae family, which consists of 4 species: spotted hyena, striped hyena, brown hyena, and the aardwolf. I just came back from Swallow and my bucket list species with a brown hyena. I saw everything else, but sadly I did not see a brown hyena. And they're closely related to mongoose. But if you're to compare, are they closer to the cat family, the sort of Felidae, or the dog family, the Canidae, they are more closely related to the cats and dogs. But still, they're on their own. They're in their own little family. And I think that they're very behaviorally, physically, morphologically similar to dogs. When I spend time with hyenas, they just remind me of dogs. But they're not. They're nowhere near related to the Canidae family in any way, shape, or form. Cannot believe how big their bellies are. And it makes sense. I started to see all these hyenas. This would not be from an impala, if you like. This full bellies is from the buffalo. So I have a quiz for you all. Are you ready? Now, as you know, hyenas are all ranked on a hierarchy. So you're either high ranked, mid ranked, or low ranked. And how do they get this rank? So that's the question I want to ask you all. Rank inheritance comes from what? Is it A, genetics, passed down through genes? Is it B, hormones? Is it all the hormones in the mother's womb during the sort of, fetus stage, if you like? Or is it C, behavioral? Once they're born, does your rank sort of get ingrained within you from behavior? So, rank inheritance comes from A, genes, B, hormones, or is it C, behavioral? Oh, Corky's little one's out. Corky's little one's out. I can't believe it. So just to confirm, Ribbon's ones are the oldest. I have no idea about Heart, but I actually saw Heart with BK at Chitwa, and I thought she looks like she is got suckle marks. Full belly, big pronounced nipples and suckle marks. I thought she was pregnant way back then. But Heart's cub, judging by the size and appearance of it, has to be at least 2 months old. So Corky's little one is still the youngest and obviously formed an amazing friendship with Ribbons too. So it's going to be really interesting to see the interaction when Heart eventually brings her little one here. We know that Ribbon's boys are both males, but I want to know the sex of Corky's little one. I just don't think it's going to be possible at this stage. Ribbon, my dear, are you struggling? Oh, she can barely even move. My goodness. So I'm going to continue to sit here and see what unfolds.
Okay, welcome back to my crock pot, and looks like I have just one. Now I have only about 4. I think I had one more, if I'm not wrong. Yes, but they're all basking, hoping to get the much needed sun. It was quite chilly in the morning, and it's the right time to be out because the sun is just perfect. At the moment it's warming up, it's not as hot, and the river sounds very, very beautiful. Francesca, good morning. It's morning here. We say jambo in Swahili. That is the national language. You ask, how long the migration lasts. From the beginning to the end, it lasts about 3 months here in the Maasai Mara. Of course, if we talk about the whole total journey, it will take almost 1 year because they do migrate all the way to Tanzania and then come back. But if you're talking about being in Kenya and crisscrossing the river, it's about 3 months. They arrive end of June, early July, and they stay here almost up to the end of September, beginning of October. Of course, it varies and it changes every year. There is a time sometimes back when they arrived late May and left very early in August. because they're animals and they have their own way that they do things. But traditionally it was 3 months, end of June all the way to late September. And yeah, that is the time they stayed here. Looks like the zebra have joined in over there, but they're facing the wrong direction. They're facing outwards. Remember, these animals are across the other side of the Mara Game Reserve. We call it the Greater Mara, and I am on the Mara Triangle. It's just the same park managed by 2 different local authorities. Oh, sorry, this one on the side, it is a private authority. They just need to cross over to this side because they haven't fully utilized the grass on this side. So they're just crossing from one place to the other. It's not a different country, and the main reason, it is grass. They don't necessarily have to cross the river, but they have to walk a very long way to go around. So it's much easier to just cross here and be on this side. And while doing that, they risk losing one of their own or many of their own. Apart from being killed by hippos, they also can break their legs, they can drown, they can be washed downstream, because this river sometimes, they changes the levels and it can be very, very strong. Yeah, back to our hippos. It looks like there is one with a very bad wound over there, but it's healing. Could have been caused by a bull, fighting over mating rights. They are vicious and aggressive towards each other, hippos. And oh, look at that one. There's got another one. So definitely, this was from a fight. And sometimes they do fight to their death. I've seen them fight for over 12 hours, so they're actually quite aggressive towards each other, and especially when a female is involved. These guys, they stay in water during the day, only venturing to the in the night to go graze. They actually live quite long, almost about 40 years, and that, I think, that is in captivity. So it's a long time. Yes, although they look very cuddly and pig-like, this is one of the biggest killers in Africa. I think they compete, with the mosquito.
The cubs are up in Gwazi and Shimbulu, are alert. Their bellies are not dragging them down like their mothers is. Corky's little one, oh my goodness, is so small. It's lightening though, getting bigger. Mobility is definitely much better, getting stronger. And that little face is definitely lightening. That makes sense. That other cub could never have been Corky's. I was baffled. I've been gone for 3 weeks and they really do grow quite fast. Now, although Corky's little one is confident when the 2 boys are around, when it's on its own, it's not. And Mama's not here. I haven't seen Corky. But you're right, everyone. It is growing slowly. And the reason being is just the resources, access to resources that it's getting is nowhere near good enough. I think we should get round to the quiz answers, everyone. Oh, consulting detective. Trust you to ask that. You're asking, is all of the above an option? Sadly not, consultant detective. They were all theories at one point in time, but they have definitely managed to conclude, if that makes sense. There's definitely an answer out of all 3 of those options. Lulu and Rustina, you said option A, so you said genetics. Believe it or not, oh, that's cute. Mother and son. No, it's not genetics. Now, there may be some genes that are passed down in terms of body size and strength, but in terms of rank inheritance, it's not genetics. But nice try. It's almost like a nature versus nurture quiz, and it's not nature. Dale, you said option B, which would be hormones. And again, that's not correct. There's a lot of sort of prenatal exposure to maternal hormones pass to the fetuses, and this will give your phenotype, if you like, and this is what is responsible for the strange genitals in females, androgens. Not only is there a lot of testosterone, it's actually not the testosterone that causes females to have these genitals, it's the androstenedione. So hormonals, prenatal hormones play a huge factor, but not in rank inheritance. Moon duck and Tiamat. I'm probably getting those horribly wrong, but you said C and you are correct. It is confirmed by science. It's maternal behavioral support of offspring that causes them to have their rank, and they actually call this nepotistic. So basically, it's just like royal families. If you just think of British royal family, for example, Prince William and Prince Harry are who they are. They're princes, not through genetics, not through hormones. They are literally princes because their grandmother's a queen. And that's exactly how it works. The silver spoon effect, and we call this nepotism. And that's how it works in hyenas. So if you just compare Ribbon to Queen Elizabeth, they look quite similar. No, I'm only teasing, of course they don't. It's exactly the same structure. So thank you, everyone. It was definitely option C. Now, there was a bit of a queue for this sighting, but I think we're okay now. It's now a 2-vehicle sighting because the cubs have got a little bit older and many people are desperate to come. Amy, age 11, you're asking how old is Heart? Heart is 5. She is a little over 5 years old, and it's actually been a question on many of our sort of tongues. Why has she not had a litter yet? So it really makes sense. We've been talking about Heart for a long time, and I really was convinced that I saw her with suckle marks quite a while ago. And then, of course, you doubt yourself. You think, oh, no, maybe I was wrong. It was just a full belly and the strange genitals. But she's got a cub that's definitely 2 months old now, for sure. So normally, after 4 weeks, they introduce the cubs to the rest of the clan. Because there's already cubs, I think Heart's kept hers a little bit further apart than normal. And it's a gestation period of 16 weeks. Hyenas are pregnant for 4 months. So it's about time that Heart had a litter, and she possibly has had one before, normally around 3 years old, and she maybe lost them, and we were just not aware of that. So she's now got a little one, and who knows whether it's boy or girl.
I'm sure before long, Lauren will be able to identify the sex of that young one and to know that it'll be a boy or a girl. Moving to some Thompson gazelles. My plans for the looking for lions are still there, but I thought let's first stop here and I show you some Thompson gazelles. When we started, it was a bit overcast, but now we have the very best weather for the morning. Getting sunny, warming up, and you can tell these Tommies, which normally prefer to eat short grass, are having the best of the world. You'll notice here the grass is pretty short and quite green because of the rains we've been having the last few days, which is preferred by these Thompson gazelles. And who would not love Tommies? And the main reason of coming here, when I thought I'm not winning with the lions, I thought I'll try a cheetah, because this is great cheetah country. We have noticed in general, they normally prefer to hunt, especially here in the Mara, they prefer to hunt the Thompson gazelles. Just checking my light to see whether it's okay. Looks fine to me. and maybe when I moved my body, my backpack moved. So what I was saying is the cheetahs normally love to hunt the Thompson gazelles. Here in the Maasai Mara, this is their favorite food, is their number one food, but apparently they would hunt anything else apart from the Tommies, impalas, ground gazelles. But number one on their menu are the Thompson gazelles. They'll be in small herds of anything from 5, sometimes up to 50. Tommy, good question there, and you're asking the group of gazelles. We normally say a herd of gazelles, but sometimes, Tommy, we also say a tribe of gazelles. But in general, most of the herbivores, Tommy, we'll just call them herds. But for Tommies, if you'd like, Tommy, you can also say a tribe of gazelles. It's very interesting how people have come up with their collective nouns. But Tommies, I think a tribe of Tommies would be good, or just a herd of gazelles to be fine. The next bigger size of these gazelles. Ryan, you're saying their tails never stop moving, and you can see if they don't move the tails, they'll be up and running. Now, we have always wondered the movement of the tails. Is it more of a reflex, or are they always trying to get rid of flies or, that are like irritating them? We have also thought they're trying to show there would be predators. As much as my head is down, feeding, I'm alert and I'm watching you. I was saying the next size of gazelle from this are what we call the ground gazelle, which are much bigger than the Tommies. And just like the Tommies, you'll also see the tails are always on the move. Very good area to chance a cheetah if I don't win on my lions, and who knows.
Good morning and a very warm welcome to and Beyond Pinder Private Game Reserve. We're a little late to the party this morning, but look at what we've found. My name is Damon, and behind the camera this morning is Craig, and I cannot get over the sight of those little lion cubs with their mother up on that rock there. Let's go and have a look. Isn't that just gorgeous? Look at that little cub. It's busy watching its sibling who's just climbed down the rock, and the cub now appears to be stalking us. Look at that, here it comes. Look at the two of them coming to investigate this little thicket here under the watchful eye. Look at that. Oh man, they're so cute. So playful in this early morning. And they're of course being watched by their vigilant mother up on the rock there. Oh my goodness, look at that. It's just too perfect a scene. That big rock with the big tree up on the top. Apparently lots of you oohing and ahhing. I know those are the sounds that Craig and I were making as well when we saw her up there for the first time. We were a little bit worried when we first got here. Another vehicle had let us know about this lioness and her youngsters being here. And we found them, but it appeared that the youngsters had been left by their mother, and we just waited for a minute or two, and then Mum reappeared, so it's all good for us to be here. Of course, with the youngsters being this small, we have to be very careful around them. But if Mum's here, it affords the cubs they feel safe, and that's why they're playing, that's why they're moving around. And they're still busy investigating that thicket there. I wonder if they maybe heard some scampering in there, maybe a little lizard or a little mouse scurrying around in the undergrowth. Consulting detective, you're saying they're pretending to be mountain lions. Consulting detective, I think just the fact they've got such a wonderful view from up here. I think it's maybe one of the reasons why they're up here. This lioness, from her vantage point up there, she can literally see for miles. There's a beautiful valley behind us that extends way off into the distance. And there's open plains that you can scan looking for any signs of prey. Watch out for other members of her pride. And also keep her little ones safe. There's lots of little rocky crevices and caves up there. There's that big thicket. If she wants to go hunting, she can leave them there. Riley, you're asking how many different lion prides there are here at Ambionpinda. Riley, there are 3. So this lioness here, she belongs to the pride that lives in the far south and southwest of the reserve, which is called the Bayala pride. And then there's a pride that neighbors them to the north and to the east, and that is the mountain pride. And then far up in the north of the reserve, Riley, we have the pride called the North Pride. And as far as we know, this lioness with her 2 youngsters are, well, at least the youngsters are, the youngest lions that we know of on the reserve. And they're still... We have seen her joining up with the rest of her family with these youngsters from time to time, but she still seems to be hesitant to bring them back to her pride. And it's a trend that we've noticed seems to happen quite often here at Ambionpinda with lions, is that they often don't bring their cubs back to the pride until they are a little bit later or a little bit older compared to lions in other areas. And it may just be because of the abundance of smaller prey here and the fact that the lions here at Ambionpinda normally hunt smaller animals like warthogs and nyalas, wildebeest as well, but warthogs and nyalas are by far the most abundant prey source here for them. And being in a big pride will mean that catching a warthog it won't be able to feed the full pride. And so it's almost advantageous for this lioness, while her youngsters are still so small, to rather keep them away from the others and minimize the competition for food. So if she kills a warthog, her youngsters are more likely going to be able to fill their bellies off of the carcass rather than have most of it taken away by other lions. But I have no doubt that in a few weeks from now, maybe months from now, that she will go and rejoin with the rest of her family. Craig and I are going to sit here, and hopefully those little cubs are going to come out and start playing a bit more, and if they do, we'll be sure to let you know.
Talking of cubs, my little one is out. It is so small. 1st of July we saw it. 2.5 months at a push. It is very, very small. Ribbons too are so much bigger at this age. But it's growing, it's lightening, it's stronger. Look at its little muscles. So that's making me think that Heart's little one has to be at least 3 and above. Janice, I touched on this just a little bit. Now, I'm not entirely sure what's going on with the Juma clan because Heart is definitely, well, she does have a really good relationship with Ribbon and Intima. They've always been very close, even when Ribbon was at the bottom. So it puts her in a really, really good position. There's a great paper on social alliances in hyenas, and it does say that they maintain their friendships, if you like, and I'm using the word friendship a little bit loosely. But normally they keep their cub in a natal den completely on its own. Obviously, if it's got a litter mate, then they'll be together for 4 weeks. And then they will take it to a communal den, anywhere between 1 month and 8 months. So I think what's happened here is that Heart is aware that this den is very busy. There's 3 cubs inside. 1 cub belonging to the matriarch, and the other cub belonging to the ex-matriarch. And I think that Heart, because it's her first litter that we know of, has probably just kept this cub stashed away. And I think she's getting ready to introduce them. And this is why it's really not far away. I would say, 50 meters, Theo, between these 2 dens? Maybe a little bit more. But it's very, very close between den 2 and den 3. And I think that Heart's getting ready to introduce them. So I'm going to come here every single day. Some of you will be glad to hear that. and just check, because I want to see what happens when this new cub gets introduced to this clan. I wonder how Corky's little one will fare, because it's very small and it's really dependent on Ngwazi and Shimbulu. Tiny. Now what this tells me is that Corky's really, really not getting enough nutrition, which is why this one is so small. And Ribbon's boys were getting far too much nutrition because, well, look at their mother. Ribbon, you look like a beautiful beached whale. My goodness. A buffalo, I just wish I know the story. I wish I could get the story from them, how they got that buffalo. Now, hyena clans in other parts of Africa are known. Some are known to take down buffalo. But I have a funny feeling this was stolen somehow. Corky's little one's trying to make an appearance again. I think it's looking for the boys. Marlene, if it's a mother choosing a natal den, then it's up to the mother. They do tend to, hello, they do tend to choose dens that have been used before. It's almost like they have a network of dens. They're not restricted to that, but they have a network of dens that they know are safe and that fall within the Juma clan territory. Oh, look at that. So sweet. But when it comes to the communal den, it's normally the matriarch. So it's really normally Ribbon. If she starts to decide that she wants to shift her cubs, everyone else will follow. And this is very much a communal den now. We've seen all of them do the toilet. We've seen all of them anal paste. The males are welcome. So it's very much a communal den. And as soon as Ribbon decides to change that, the rest will follow. But a new mother who's giving birth can choose any den. And it's a very sort of secretive affair due to the high risk involved. We were just very lucky when we found Ribbon that day. Really, really lucky. I look back on the footage all the time just to see how small Shimbulu and Ngwazi were at one stage in their life. Okay, I'm going to sit tight with all these sleepy heads and see what else happens next.
Welcome back, you've joined us just in time. Look at the little cub coming to greet its mum. Oh, that wasn't a very nice greeting, just walked straight past her. But let's see what it does. There's a couple of trees growing out of that rock there. Wouldn't that be amazing if those little cubs go and start to clamber around up in the trees? Here comes the second cub. Also brushing straight past mum. Oh my word, hope you're all getting screenshots of that. That is too precious. I'm very sorry, but I have to do it. This reminds me of that scene from Lion King with Nala busy cleaning young Simba. Also up on the beautiful big rock. I had to go there. It's just too perfect a scene. A big yawn from mum. So look at those cubs still busily exploring their surroundings. There's lots of thickets up there for them to go looking around in. Like I said, there could be little lizards and stuff clambering around in the crevices up there. Maybe even a little sengi, a little elephant shrew, some little rodents. Lots of exploring for those little cubs to do. I think they've just gone around the other side of the thicket for now. And I'm sure that they'll sooner or later come back around to the side where mum is. For the time being, she seems to be quite... never mind. Obviously deciding that she needs to go and investigate where her little ones have gone. See her mammary gland still quite swollen and with little stains around them, showing that she is still suckling these little ones. Digging her claws into that tree. And listen to the little contact calls she's making. Calling to her cubs, urging them not to stray too far. See, she's dug her claws into that tree there. I know we can't see it too well, but look at how her back is arched. She's busy putting weight. She's dug her claws into the tree and she's busy putting weight onto those tendons, stretching her tendons, sharpening her claws, getting rid of any bits of dead nail underneath her claws, and maybe even scent marking as well. Oh, she's just laying down there, and those cubs are still busily playing around. I think Craig and I are gonna see if we can maybe try and get a better view from that side for all of you.
Now we come back to Lowveld River, and we thought we were going to find our beautiful leopard track. Dingana, since he was seen in that area, and now we pick up spotted eagle owl. It's like still have visual against the light. Anyway, also it's looking away from us. So in our owls are nocturnal, so when they're disturbed, they kind of like fright and move off and find a new perch. We're gonna leave it in peace.
Welcome back, Jumbo Jumbo, welcome back to the river. And yeah, I have more hippos now. Looks like I had about 7, now I have about 10. And yeah, they're very happy. They're all arriving. I'm waiting for them to head out into their little resting area, the beach. And so I can, I can actually keep, try and get my inventory. See how many there are. You see, hippos stay in the water most of the day. Joma, yes, they are. They are not reptiles, they are mammals. The main reason they stay in the water is only that their skin is not fully developed, so it lacks the capacity to be able to withstand extreme sunlight. So, being in the water maintains the skin and keep it moist, and also keeps it from cracking, sunburning, all those things. So they stay in the water. That's the only thing. But they are mammals, and they're warm-blooded, and they feed on grass, but they are nocturnal. It's rather interesting, to have such a big animal in the water. Here we have a cold-blooded one, the famous Nile crocodile. I think the name derives from this, they came from the Nile, I think, and found their way all the way here. And these are monsters of this river, the real predators of this river. They keep everything in check, from fish to all mammals that crisscross and drink along this river. Of course, if there wasn't for crocodile, I think we'd be swimming there every day and we'll be darting the water. So it's nice to have somebody to check on the water and to be the guardian of the water. Yes, these are Nile crocodiles, and they have been known to live up to around 80 years, and they breed in water. Usually males are territorial. They could have a territory of up to around maybe 300, 400 meters stretch in the water, and she will mate with females in water. For how long they stay in season, females, I don't know, but after mating, the female finds an appropriate spot just on the banks where she digs a hole almost 1.5 feet and lays up to 60 eggs. She will bury them and protect them with all her might and power. She is so aggressive. They will chase you away. I have been chased a few times trying to go to the bush and noticingly not knowing that there's a crocodile, and I hear this hissing and they come running after you. So I've seen them protecting that nest. When they hatch, they come out in their numbers, and immediately the mother ushers them into the water using her mouth. She carries them and she stays very close to them. Every time there is Every time there is a threat, they will run towards her and she opens her mouth, or they go on her back. So they are very protective. That is a little one. It's rare to see this size because they are cannibals. They feed on one another. So it's a nice size to see. You always see the big ones. You never see the small ones.
I've actually been trying to figure out who we have here, and I'm really not sure. I can see 5 flat, fat bodies. I know we've got Ribbon and Djuma sleeping next to one another with the cubs, but I actually have no idea who else we have. I imagine more of the clan have just moved off to the side, so we can't see them, but they won't be too far, and they will also be sleeping off the buffalo. Look at Corky's little one just watching Shimbulu. The love between these three is something I have not seen before in hyenas. And I think this is another factor that goes into the fact that Corky's little one was way younger than we first thought. Hi, Shimbulu. Why are you so fat? But in all seriousness, the life of feast and famine is entirely normal for most predators. I would say sort of the predators that we get out here that maybe don't experience that so much are wild dogs. Because of the pack life, they really will hunt in the morning and hunt in the evening, and everyone gets fed. The pups will obviously receive food through regurgitation. But for your lions, your leopards, your cheetah, hyenas, it really is a life of feast and famine. Sometimes they're full, like they are now. They've completely gorged themselves on buffalo. But then sometimes it's really sort of starvation mode for quite a number of days. Maybe a mongoose or a scrub hare snack here and there, but it really will be starvation mode, and that's normal life for the predators. Emma, you're 6 years old and you're asking what season? Aha, what season are hyenas born in? Very interesting question, Emma. It can be any time of year. It really can be. If you think of ribbons too, we found them on the end of March. And in Corky's little one, we found at the start of July. So that's sort of, there's 2 very different seasons right there. But they're not restricted to one season as most antelopes are. They have a sort of breeding season. Hyenas can give birth any time throughout the year. Now, a lot of predators are said to sort of time their births with the onset of summer, because most of their cubs or pups are born altricial, which means that they need to be kept in den for further development. And then once they're sort of mobile and ready to come out their den, summer is here. And there's lots of impala lambs and all sorts of delicious delicacies. But with hyenas, they really can give birth all year round. I really did not expect any of that this morning. It's been so magical, and I'm going to try and sit here as long as I can.
Yeah, it's nice to see some hyenas. And I got a new bat for you, not that you haven't seen it before, because slowly I'm losing my hopes getting lions or cheetahs, and is an ostrich in the midst of some zebras. You also notice the zebras are enjoying the short grass, like the Thompson gazelles that we saw before. And the ostrich will be feeding on the same. They normally pick some grass blades, some seeds from the grass, like what you could be picking up. Sometimes some small leaves from different plants. But also along the way, they'll also pick some insect that he may be able to catch, rather, because this is a male. It's the Maasai ostrich. Nice to see these zebras facing in one direction, feeding. Not sure whether they are facing the direction away from the wind. And definitely those two should be competing for the grass available to them. And being non-ruminants, what they need to do is to eat as much as they can for the better part of the day. And very striking stripes the zebras got. And when I compare them to another species of zebras that we got here in Kenya, called the gravy zebra, I have always thought the gravies are a little cuter than this ones here that we call the common or the bachels. This one here is more similar or closely related to, well, just by look, to the donkeys, and the gravy zebras look similar to the horses and bigger in size. And the patterns or the stripes, very different. Scratch my back, I scratch yours maybe. Very typical behavior of zebras. Ponies, that's a good way to look at these zebras in the morning. And yes, scratch my back, scratch yours. How cool is this, eh? Please keep sending through comments or questions. And as usual, hashtag CGTNWild or hashtag WildEarth on Twitter. I don't know what part of the teeth they use to do this, or is just the lips. Because I would imagine the teeth would hurt each other. But I've got a feeling they use the lips just to rub each other like that. Are you going to change sides, maybe? Let's see. Ostriches do not have a particular breeding season, and it depends on just like when they mate, males and the females, and then they'll get anything from 5, sometimes up to 50 chicks. But they don't have a particular season like some certain mammals, like the wildebeest. The times we walk around here in the game reserve, we don't see any chicks of ostriches. And the times you just move, and you always see so many of them. But they don't have a very defined breeding season. There's something that he likes there that he keeps picking on that termite mound. And my guess is it must be something very nutritious. The other day I saw a male ostrich not very far from here, which went and caught up with a female and they started mating. We'll spend a few more minutes here and see whether this could be the same male and find out if he may lead us to the same way.
Back at Ambion Pinda Private Game Reserve, the youngsters seem to have settled down a little bit in the shade of all of those trees up on top of the rocky outcrop. Look at how relaxed she looks, stretched out across that rock. I imagine if you or I were to be lying there, I don't think we'd look that relaxed. Amazing how she's able to just kind of mold into the rock and sleep soundly. Now, with the sun starting to come up and there being relatively few clouds in the sky, the sun is really intense. And I think that she's just getting out the sun, getting her little ones out the sun and into the shade. And they're probably going to rest here for the better part of the day until it cools off a little bit later this evening. But just be able to see the cubs' faces in the background above Mum. And they're also taking it easy there, listening to the sounds of the vehicles that are slowly moving around them and watching them. course, for these little ones, like we were saying, just about anything will get their attention, any little bit of movement. So a big vehicle moving around is also definitely of interest to them. Tyler, you're asking, how do lions mark their territory? Tyler, they do it in a number of ways, and they'll use both smell and sound mainly. So lions will scent mark, they'll spray their urine against bushes and against trees, and especially with male lions, if you watch them while they're walking, they'll often back up to a tree and kind of rub their cheeks and their chin through the bush, and then after they've done that, then they'll spray their urine against the bush. They'll also urinate on the ground and scrape their back feet in it to help them to spread their scent. And so that's in terms of the way that they'll mark their territory in terms of sense of smell. And then in terms of audibly, they'll roar. So especially big male lions or dominant male lions, they'll roar to announce to other lions that this territory is taken, that they're here. Lionesses will do it too. And it's, of course, that sound being so impressive and so loud and carrying for such a vast distance, it lets other lions know where they are and that this territory is taken. I suppose they also do like what we just saw there, where they'll dig their claws into the bark of trees. There are glands in between their toes, and the smell gets deposited onto the bark from there as well. It gets impregnated into the bark from where they scratch. So quite a couple of different ways that they'll mark their territory. But for the time being, it doesn't seem like this lioness is going to be doing any of that. And I think we got a really special view of her and of those two cubs when they were out in the open a little bit earlier. But I think with them being now tucked away into that thicket, I don't know that we're going to get many more views of them. I think they're going to be quite set here, settled in, enjoying the shade of this thicket, and enjoying the lovely cool breeze that's blowing over them. And so I think what Craig and I are going to do is we're going to leave these lions to their afternoon, and we're going to head off to see what else we can find for you this morning.
Yeah, when lions choose just to snooze, that's it. Maybe the best thing to do is to move on. But not like the Tommies. When the Tommies are busy eating, as we were looking at them earlier, flicking their tails, that does not stop. And this youngster here has learnt that should be the rule. Keep moving your tail every other 1 minute or every other 1 second. We had watched the Thompson gazelles earlier, but I stopped when I saw this very small baby here, which I think could be a couple of days old. I'm not sure that she has qualified to eat grass, or she can really manage her digestive system, can handle grass. I think she should just be suckling milk from the mother. Scratch there, one leg. Small little bird behind her. And very, very cute baby. Many thanks to hear that. The mother getting close. She will not stay very far from the baby because she knows, should, for example, a cheetah show up here, definitely most predators will always you choose to get the easiest prey, and it'll be the baby. And sometimes you'll see the mother eating a few minutes and putting her head up to make sure her baby is very safe. I just think she is still in that age of suckling the mother and cannot handle grass because she looks brand new to me. This short grass comes in very handy for them. She's doing more scratching than even eating. Not sure she's getting bothered by any parasites on her body, or she's just having fun, or got just a scratch. Most of the animals out here, you'll not get males and females taking care of the young ones, but in general, the females will always, do the job after birth taking care of their young ones to maturity. I just wish this baby to grow to adulthood as I tell the mother and the baby bye for now.
So everything's died down at our side, and if we just look at the bellies of Ribbon and Djuma, I don't think they're going anywhere soon. Sutu's still here, and Kaikau's still here. That's all I've managed to see for now. So I think after this we'll leave them. There has to come a point when you're guiding just to say it's time to let them sleep. SG? You're asking who builds the den for the hyenas? Well, no one builds them for the hyenas, I'm afraid. But this is a termite mound, and it's a disused termite mound. It's a very, very large one. We'll just take a little look at it. It's not the largest, but it's definitely a large one. And termites are, well, fascinating within themselves, but they don't actually use the mound as a home. They use it as sort of a breathing organ, if you like. But it's built by termites, and then normally it becomes a burrow for something else. So this big entrance hole that you can see, where Corky's little one is down inside, can have been built by a aardvark or a porcupine. We do get these animals in this area, believe it or not. They're not as prevalent as in areas like this, like the Kalahari, Swallow, where aardvarks are everywhere, because they're shifting from being nocturnal to more diurnal because of the harsh cold temperatures. And they will be the ones that dig it out. Then the hyena comes along, or warthogs, and they say, aha, this looks like a perfect place to stash my little cubbies. So it's originally designed, built, structured by the termites. Then another animal will come along and dig, sort of make that big burrow inside. And then the hyenas come along and they say, well, hello there. This looks like prime property for my clan. And that's how it works. I believe, if I'm not wrong, an aardvark was actually found on Buffelshoek Hook last night. It was spotted. We do get aardvarks here. They're just incredibly nocturnal, and they only come out for a very small window of time. So it's more like from, let's say, 1 in the morning till 3 in the morning when nobody is around. Specialized termite eaters, and we do see porcupines occasionally here. We find their quills everywhere, but again, they're more nocturnal. So I am going to leave the den for now. We may pop back later, but I think it's time to let our Juma clan rest and digest.
Come back, everyone, back to Chitwa Dam. We just arrived here, and it was a fish eagle that was perching in one of these dry tree, but fly off. So what we got right now, it's feed of a hippo in a water hole. Since looks like they returned early this morning from their feeding area. Yeah, that. Beautiful sound indeed. Now, this is how they communicate, and some kind of noise they can make could be warning from one another, or warning from whatever's close to the water. So it was a croc on a way distance for sure, that are in one of the small island. Oh yeah, still there. So maybe they also, giving that kind of a sound just because of, there's also crocodile in this water hole. Vanessa, so a hippo lifespan, it's anything from 35, 40 years of age. Especially female, they can reach that far, but the males, they have a lot of challenge, die sometimes before they reach pretty much old age because of territorial situations they come across. So they fight for their territory, and each waterhole sometimes occupied by one male and his group of females. So the challenge you see, this is when the other hippo, male hippo, maybe run out of the spot, run out of his water somewhere. He would push into this waterhole, and then sometime this is where the fight begin. Remember, they have this beautiful teeth, which is the only protection they have. Of course, they mean to be very much a serious killer in most countries, Africa, where people used to investigate the water during the day, and hippo can, since they can submit down for longer, 6 minutes. Of course, when you arrive, you will know there's a hippo in there. If you don't wait enough to see if there's going to be any hippo sticking their head off or the nostrils for a brief, and you finally get yourself into danger when you swim in that area. We'll leave this hippo.
The hippos and these birds that we have here have one commonality, that they always take sometimes the habitat of water. You know, both of them being semi-aquatic. Sometimes the hippos are in water, sometimes out. And these ducks, sometimes in water and sometimes out. Now, I'll give you the name of the big one on the left. They are all ducks, as much as the one on the left, you know, we like calling it the Egyptian geese. It's the Egyptian geese. And I'll request you to tell me the name of the many. I've given you the easiest. So give me that's the Egyptian geese there. We all know that one. As much as we call it the Egyptian geese, is some sort of duck. And on the right, we have other ducks. And I'd be happy if you could tell me what ducks we are watching here. As usual, tweet hashtag CGTNWorld or hashtag World Earth. What ducks do you think David is watching here? Could be swimming at the moment, or they could be feeding at the same time. You see how they get in the water then up? How cute is that? So I'll be waiting to hear your answers as we continue enjoying watching them swimming here. You notice they immerse their whole body inside the water and then come out immediately. And the whole idea not to spend a lot of time in the water there. Indigo Gal and all of you, you got the correct answer. You're all very right. These are the white-faced whistling ducks. And apparently the director of the show today, Cass, loves these ducks. You're correct. So they'll either feed in the water or out of the water. They look a little bit young to me. And once they immerse themselves, they'll come out on this natural water hole and stay on the edge and then dry up. Some of the challenges they could be facing here would be from huge raptors or birds of prey, like the marshal eagles. I just love the way they're immersing themselves in the water, in and out. And always going in big numbers, unlike the Egyptian geese that we saw before, that will normally go, you know, in twos because they're very monogamous, unless they have goslings. These white-faced whistling ducks will always go in big numbers, sometimes up to 50 together. Here you could be having a good number of maybe about 10 or a dozen. And once they get very wet, they'll have to come out. Another challenge they might face in here, it could be from, for example, a snake, like an African rock python. Pythons have been known to hunt in the water like here. Ooh, beautiful. I don't know what spoke them there. There they go. And very good job. Funny, if they come out, and we love that particular noise. Now I just want to move forward a little bit because one of the ducks we saw, the Egyptian geese, we have seen a few that are coming in. Not sure if they could not share the same water body because the Egyptian geese were just on the edge. Oh, they're coming back. 1 minute. Right there. Now they have all come back in the water. I don't know why they had to leave. They're all back. And if you notice, they all moved at the same time. So it was like, if it's for safety reasons, let's get out of here. And I'm sure maybe at one point, they'll be settled. Sorry, Bungay there. Now saying to the left of this waterhole, we've got a huge number of some geese. Kevi, in this dam here, we have a lot. We have what you call planktons, and planktons are small little plants like algae that will always float in the water, and that is what they feed on. But apparently, we also got so many aquatic insects that will also be floating in the same water, and you'll notice once in a while them catching them. Now, I was taking a look at this one duck that got 1 foot up. Well done, Bungay. Bungay is the gentleman on the camera. And not sure there is a bit of a standoff here because, I mean, these geese here are also semi-aquatic. Once in a while you get them in the water, sometimes out. But they're not going in the water, not because, I'm not sure, not because of the other ducks, the white-faced whistling ducks, or they're not ready to go in. But as soon as we saw those ones in there fly away, the smaller ducks, this one ventured a little closer to the waterhole, then they stopped as soon as the smaller ducks came back. The other birds there are the spar-winged lapwings, the two small ones. Spar-winged lapwings. Also associated with water bodies. You know, when they breed or when they need to feed their chicks, they'll always also be found near water. Most lapwings will be. And my guess this could be a male and a female. Well, very entertained by all those bird species. I'll move on and find out what else I'll see.
Okay, welcome back, Jumbo Jumbo, welcome back to the river. I'm still here with my crocodiles, the river, waiting and anticipating that I will get to see a crossing. Of course, when it happens, I don't know. So you can talk to me and ask me questions. Hashtag CGTNWild, hashtag Wild Earth. Questions and comments are very, very welcome. Keep me busy here at the river. We are waiting, anticipating, hoping they will come down. There is hippos in the water. The ever-flowing Mara River is here, entertaining us with the sound. Emily, you ask if hippos, when animals cross, I missed a word there, a joining word there, to complete the whole question. Oh, they give birth while the animals cross. No, it's unheard of. And when a female, they get hurt. Sorry, Emily, now I got it. Do the hippos get hurt when the animals cross? No. The hippos are smart enough every now and then, and when they see them approaching, sometimes unintentionally, you will see the hippos swim further down or walk away from the hippos. So they never get hurt they can avoid the wildies. Of course, when they stampede, the wildebeest have got no sense of exactly what they're doing, so the hippos do avoid them. They never get hurt. I've never seen, any hippo get stuck from being trampled by the wildebeest. They are somewhere there behind that ledge. I cannot see them, but you can see the stripies, and you can see a few horns of the wildebeest off to the left. So they are somewhere there. I don't know how many they are. I'm quite far a distance. I am hoping that they're going to decide to come down and give me a show. Looking at those rocks there, at the beginning of last month, it was full of grass, but it has been worn down by the hoofs of all the animals. The amount of animals that have crossed this river is unbelievable. I would estimate to be almost maybe 400,000 since I started seeing them. Yeah, here I have a sacred ibis doing some patrol, enjoying, being by the river. This guy, they eat frogs, a little fish, a little, water insects, mollusks. So he's going, checking if we can find something to eat along the beach there. Of course, they can fly in case of danger. That long beak is for probing. They can probe, and if they sense if there's a frog or a fish, they'll even dig deeper and then clamp it with the beak and just swallow it. Nom, 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 nom. Yes, I want to be here at the river just so that you don't miss anything. So don't you go anywhere.
As you know, we've left our little Inas just to rest. You don't want to overdo it. We had a fantastic sighting. And I've just spotted this bird of prey, definitely a raptor. Look at that beak from far away, but I'm struggling to identify it. The sky is still really, really overcast, and it is at quite a distance away. So this is where all of you come in to help. Now, it's in the area where the Wahlbergs used to be, but this is unusual to see the Wahlbergs around. They normally do leave. They're an intra-African migrant, and they're normally only present. Oh, we've been seeing the Wahlbergs at Ngala and Pinda, so maybe they've arrived. Because you normally only see them September time, roughly. I guess now is the time. I can't remember when we first spotted them last year. My memory's not that good, I'm afraid, and they normally leave around April. This could be my first Wahlberg getting ready for the summer. They come to Juma. There's quite a few monogamous pairs that we see. They use the same nests. And just sort of behind where we're seeing this individual, a little bit further into the Mulwati, they've got nests there that they reuse year after year. Many of you are confirming Wahlberg. Fantastic. And this is obviously the dark morph. You do get different colorations. You get the dark form, the pale form, and then, believe it or not, an intermediate, which is in between. So this is definitely the dark form, and this is my first Wahlberg of the season. And it's amazing. They don't leave Africa, but they do travel all the way down here, especially to Juma, and they just reuse their nest. But sometimes, due to wear and tear and all sorts of damage, the nest might not be in the exact same condition as it used to be. And that's when the two of them, the male and the female, the pair, will... Oh, and off we go. It landed. Let me see if I can go forward. And the pair will sort of maintain, rebuild, restructure the entire nest. And then they will lay eggs. And the one on Wahlberg's Nest Road, it's a great name, here in Juma, successfully raised one chick last year. It was incredible following it. It's up there. Don't think we're going to get any view for now. Theo will try. See if we can get one last view.
Good morning, everybody. We've missed you. I hope you missed us as well. It's another beautiful morning here in the Kalahari at Tswalu, and everyone came out to say good morning. The meerkats are up a little earlier. It's much warmer than when we were with you last time. So because of that, they're also waking up a little earlier. The beauty of this is just looking at how they're busy maintaining their burrows at the moment. Shame with the wind being so hectic over the last couple of days. Most of the burrows that's facing towards the north, which is this direction, has blown almost completely shut. So they're spending quite a bit time this morning clearing out the burrows and just making sure that everything is up to scratch again. The one adult over there is currently looking. They were busy, well, all of them were busy cleaning, and then all of a sudden this one just ran over to that side and started looking towards the east. A little earlier this morning, Veronica, meerkat habituator, had a African wildcat not too far away from here, which is in that direction. But that unfortunately gave us a miss. We were there just too late. It went into a bush and we couldn't relocate it again. But it's very possible that he woke up, or she, and is now moving in this direction. So it would be interesting to see what comes around. She's not left her post for quite some time now, continuously staring in that direction. So if we're lucky, maybe that African wildcat will come by and we'll have some action. Not too much action though. We love these guys a little bit too much. So yeah, Ryan, you're very right. That the one has a very big tummy. So the beta female of the rock stars is very heavily pregnant. We're expecting her to deliver any day soon now, maybe in about a week or two. So very, very pregnant. And it would be interesting to see what happens there, whether the alpha female allows her to keep the young. As we've mentioned on previous episodes, that most of the breeding gets done by the alpha female, which is the one that's sitting just over here. And so about 75 to 90% of the breeding or repopulating of a particular meerkat group is done by the alpha female. But every now and again, she'll allow the beta female to have pups of her own as well, if they want to make the group a little bit bigger or so. So yeah, we're hopeful that it'll happen soon and that those babies will be strong and healthy and that the group will grow even more. The alpha female's little ones are the two sitting just over here, where everyone is busy maintaining the burrow at the moment. They're about 3 months old at the moment, so she's got a little parenting to go still. And so with that being the case, it would be great to have another set of pups just to make the rock stars a little bit of a bigger group.
And welcome back to Ngala, where the scene has changed quite a bit. It has cooled down and we've left that leopard that we were with this morning, and one of the other rangers found a pride of lions, which we are currently looking at. So we've only been here a few minutes, but so far we've counted about 9 of them, and they're all just lying in the long grass here. Nice that they have, well, a lot of them still have their heads up. It is nice and cool because of this cloud cover. So every now and again we see the youngsters getting up, walking around playing with each other. What a beautiful scene. So we're quite far off the road at the moment. So Paige, how long is a lion pregnant for? So usually they would carry for about 100 days, which isn't actually that long if you compare that to a human. So recently we actually had some lions mating on the property. So very soon we are probably going to have some more little cubs running around. In this pride that we're currently looking at, there are youngsters, but they're not that young. They are already over a year, I would say. No small cubs here. Looks like this one is, I don't know if it's pretty hard to see, but it looks like he's grooming himself, or maybe he's chewing on something there. Looks like a young male. If you look at the top of the neck, you can see it's almost like he's got a little mohawk there. So that's just the mane starting to grow. But they are all being very lazy at this stage. It's incredible how well they blend in with this grass as well. I mean, if you just drove on the road, you would go straight past them. We're quite far off the road, and when they're flat, oh, there's one that's up. Megan, that is exactly right. And especially at in this specific spot where they are now, the grass is quite long, so you can walk right up to them if you're not aware. And if you get close, the thing you can look out for is maybe you'll see a head lifting, or you might see a tail trying to chase the flies away. Ah, and there's a male on that side actually as well. That one is slightly bigger. Nice stretch there. Yawn. He's got something I don't know if you noticed, but there is something strange on his belly. It looks like some kind of growth, or maybe a hernia of some sort. Yeah, that is quite interesting, and he's flat. Maybe have to look into that. I did actually notice when that male walked over, there was a female behind him, and I don't know if anyone else noticed, but she had a short tail. That one, yes. So she had a short tail, so I could actually recognize this female, and she is from a pride that we call the Birmingham Breakaway Pride. So it's quite interesting to find them in this area. We usually find them a little bit further west, and that is the lead lioness right there. Looking very sleepy. We'll sit here for a little bit longer and we'll just see if anything happens.
So yeah, guys, as you can see, the whole group is up and going now. Lots of digging and, the little ones just being curious about what life is about. Walking around, learning how to do the sentry work. As you can see, that one there in the middle is standing up, doing that. But guys, what I want you to quickly have a look, just something important with as far as the meerkats are concerned. You'll find that with a number of different species right throughout the animal kingdom. Have a look at the tip of the tail. See how that, it almost looks like a little dipstick of a car, that black tip on the tail. You'll find that with the lions as well. I believe you guys were looking at some sleepy lions just now. But the tips of the tail is quite often a very important, visual communication system when it comes to the animals. And more importantly, we call it the follow me signs. So very important for the meerkats to, when they detect danger, or even when they're moving, but more importantly when they detect danger and they dash into whichever direction, especially for the babies. So what happens is as soon as a meerkat starts running, the tail goes up just like this little guy is doing right now. And that's just like a little antenna to show everyone, this is where I'm going. So for the little ones, when they're still a little confused and don't know what to do and which direction to run, because the burrow system which they need to duck into might be some distance away and they might not know at that time yet where that is, then they use that visual communication system by looking at the mom and also any one of the other adult individuals in the group, looking at that tip of the tail as a way of following one another. So very important. The little things that we quite often overlook. I mean, it just looks cute having that tip of the tail being that nice black coloration, but the importance of that is far greater than what we sometimes realize. You just look at it and it looks beautiful, but for them it's a way of staying alive. So really, really cool. Also a little bit of grooming going on over here.
Welcome back to Ambient Pinda. Craig and I have left that lioness and her 2 cubs and we're off in search of a female cheetah with also 2 cubs. There were reports of her from this area last night, so we're busy in conjunction with 2 other vehicles trying to find any sign of her. And along the way we've found these 3 buffalo bulls looking rather menacingly at us. This one in the middle, look at how he's got his head tilted back and his ears pricked forward. The wind blowing straight from us to him, so he's getting a nostril full of our scent, or nostrils full of our scent. Oh, look at that, the ash whenever he puts his foot down. They're in the middle of a bit of a burnt area here, where a fire has come through. And probably heading onto the next area of grazing. Have a look at that on the far right though, everybody. Just looking through my binoculars, it looks like he's been in a bit of a fight. Almost looks like the skin around his eyes is a little bit swollen. But also have a close look at his ears. I don't know if you can see when he faces them forward, there's almost, it looks like little trickles of blood. I can't quite tell if it's wet or dry though. It does look relatively fresh. And the insides of his ragged ears. So I don't know if perhaps he's locked horns with another bull recently, had a bit of a fight, and sometimes buffalo bulls when they fight, they'll catch each other with the tips of those horns. They'll of course use those big bosses on the top of their heads, those big kind of bumps of bone, as a crash helmet. When these 3 bulls, looks like a group of bachelors that have left the herd. Angela, you're asking if we will help sick or injured animals. Angela, generally speaking, no. If it's well, that being said, I suppose it needs a bit more clarification in terms of what I've said. So if it's a natural injury, so for example, this buffalo bull, if he's been in a fight with another buffalo bull and he's been injured, then Angela, no, we won't help him. That's nature. We'll let it take its course. If it's a man-made injury, so if an animal gets caught in a snare or gets hit by a car or something like that, then we would step in to help where possible. And also, Angela, sometimes where it concerns endangered species or species of conservation concern, things like rhinos, cheetah, pangolins, then we would step in there to lend a hand if they were injured. But it's a very fine line that has to be walked, because you don't want to interfere with nature and it taking its course. But then at the same time, there are some species where we need to help just because of how rare they are and how important the survival of every single individual is. Just having a close look at that buffalo. Look at how covered in mud his rump is. Probably had a bit of a mud wallow yesterday sometime. I think Craig and I are going to leave these buffalo to continue moving off in search of the next pasture of grass, and we're going to carry on looking for any tracks or signs of that female cheetah and her 2 cubs.
We've got some zebra on Juma. No, actually, that's a complete lie. They're actually on Torchwood, but we're able to view them from Juma. A lovely little herd. There's some young foals. Lots of females, and there'll obviously be a stallion somewhere there looking over his females. Now, any sort of field grazing species will always eat earth, if you like. So, of course, they're grazing the grass, but they're always going to eat earth and dust. In an environment like this, where we are right now in the Lowveld and Juma, there's going to be a lot of dust that they will eat alongside the plants. So that's going to cause a lot of work for all those organs that they have that need to chew. So both zebras and horses actually are said to have incredibly long teeth, large teeth, but they're also long. And this is to compensate for the abrasion that will be caused by dust and sand and possibly earth in other areas. Whereas the likes of your wildebeest or your cows, even domesticated cows, they have much shorter teeth than zebra do. So how on earth do they manage? And that's because the cows and your wildebeest and all sorts of antelopes are ruminants, and they have a 4-chambered stomach, a very specialized chambered stomach. It's not 4 stomachs, it's 1 stomach with 4 chambers, and this is where they use bacteria to digest the plant material that they eat. And the food is actually washed in rumen fluid, which doesn't sound particularly lovely, but there's a special fluid in one of the pouches called the rumen that actually washes it and sorts through all the material, and that's when they regurgitate and chew again. So that's how the ruminants can survive it. But the zebras are slightly different. Their digestive process is it's very different actually, and that's why they have much longer teeth to compensate for the abrasion. So longer teeth will allow for the teeth to slowly wear down over time, and they'll still be at a sort of decent length in order for them to feed. Zebras are hindgut fermenters, and this is where all the sort of digestion takes place in the lower part of the gut, and it's said to be 2/3 as efficient but twice as faster, and that's why they're bulk feeders. Brian, you're asking, how do zebras clean themselves? They do groom. They groom all the parts that they can themselves. Oh my goodness, that's rather loud. My goodness, lots of excitement somewhere. But yes, they also allogroom. So you'll see some sort of, especially the females, plucking off all sorts of nasty ticks and bites from one another using their teeth. And they'll also roll around in the dust. So zebras, believe it or not, are one of the specialized animals out here that can roll over completely on their back, just like a horse. So they can lie down and they can do a complete 180 onto the other side. Now, most other antelope species cannot do this. So they can sort of roll around and itch and scratch in the dust, and that's another way that they can help clean themselves. Now, of course, they're herbivores, so they don't need to get rid of blood or any sort of nastiness. But in order to get rid of parasites or mud, they'll roll around, scratch it off, they will groom themselves, and they will also groom one another. But allogrooming also assists in their group bonding, similar to lions. They've got harem structures out here. The females do bond, and aloe grooming assists this. So we are going to leave these zebras here and hopefully bump into some elephants.
So guys, the sun is just beginning to break out of the clouds here, in patches. With that warming up, you can see one of the individuals has actually decided, okay, it is time to actually start foraging now for the day. The little ones also giving us a little bit of an indication that they are getting in the mood to have something to eat. You can see they're still busy or started to dig here and there. Not that they necessarily find something, but it's important for them to practice those skills, especially when it comes to finding these things. So, did you catch that question properly? Meerkat? Oh, Rockwell, very good question. Rockwell had just asked whether... So, Rockwell just asked, are meerkats better at smelling or seeing? And Rockwell, the answer is definitely their sense of sight is their most important sense. So, as far as spotting animals or danger is concerned, absolutely, their sense of sight is their most important sense. Very good eyesight. You can see also their eyes are situated more to the front of the skull, so giving it more binocular vision almost. They do, by all means it is, they do have peripheral vision as well, and pretty good ones as a matter of fact, but their sense of sight is absolutely their most important sense when it comes to spotting danger. When it comes to finding food, they use a combination of sight and smell. What they will often do is they won't necessarily smell the beetles underneath the ground or the grubs or so on, but what they do is they go and they just dig a little bit, and then they feel with their paws. That, and then also, so they feel whether they can feel vibrations of the grub moving around underneath. They also listen to see to hear if there's any activity under the ground. But then also, not all of the things that they eat are underground. They quite often find beetles walking around on the ground and these types of things. So using a combination of sight, sound, and smell for finding food. But absolutely their most valued sense, or their more important sense, and also the best sense that they've got, is their sense of sight. And they use that for, just staying alive and finding food, and the whole combination. But yeah, that's just too cute, these little ones, when they start playing like that. Pretty soon, they're going to start getting the confidence to walk right up to one another. You can see they're very curious about me now, crouching down, but also in the mood for playing. Very energetic. They're so cool. Look at that. I see that meerkat that we started on. He's actually moved quite a bit. He's moved down away from the burrow quite a bit, so I'm pretty sure the others will follow soon. We'll see. It will most likely be up to the alpha female to go. As soon as she makes the call, then you'll see everyone just heading in the same direction.
Jumbo, 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 jumbo. Welcome back to the river. I am here and I have a good number of wildebeest that have decided to make a decision and move closer to the edge and see what is there. I don't know what they can smell, but it seems they arrived there and all of a sudden they stopped and they're keen looking and staring, glued towards the river. I don't know if they can smell some hyena, I don't know if they can smell some lion. They're quite distance away, maybe around 300 meters, that's 900 feet from the river. It is a good sign, but no guarantees when it's gonna go. Yes, there is one looming, but when it's gonna go, I don't know. Remember, this is the annual wildebeest migration, and during this time we have them cross the river from one side to the other for the purposes of utilizing the rich red oat grass, which is in plenty this time of the year. We just came through a wet season because we only have two seasons in Kenya, wet and dry, and the wet season starts in March, April, May and June, where we receive a lot of rain. After that, the grass becomes too tall or high, up to 4 feet high, and without these guys to mow it down, it will go to waste. So they come and utilize it, and by doing that they have to cross the river from one side of the other to eat this grass. While they're here, this grass, which is in the oat family, excites them and fills them, and so females come into season out in the plains. We'll be sharing with you. You will see them Cecilia, good morning. Well, I don't know what time it is where you are, Cecilia, but you want to know if any of the big cats do cross the river. Yes, they do. It has been documented. I have seen once, a cheetah crossing the river. It has been documented, leopards crossing the river. Even lions are the most common ones that have been documented. Somebody took a picture, a sequence of pictures of them crossing this dangerous, treacherous river from one side to the other. And surprisingly, just to tell you, early last month we had 3 male lions crossed over from the marsh, and they were in an area called Mugoro area for quite a bit, and then after 2 weeks they disappeared. And the last news I heard, they were seen on Paradise Plains, which is just across the river, and they had killed a buffalo. So definitely they do cross the river. They do cross the river, Cecilia. Yes, the river is raging. The water is heading towards Lake Victoria. I don't know, and nobody has ever told me or calculated how many liters or tons, on thousands of tons or millions of tons of water, end up in Lake Victoria, because that is a lot of water flowing down. We seems to have a mutual agreement amongst the wildebeest, and they seems to be taking one step at a time, which is very smart, and they are looking behind every little rock, every little bush, making sure there is no kitty cat. And I don't know if I spoke too soon, and now they are going back, but I'm not leaving this spot.
Welcome back to this beautiful Juma area with, it looks like a herd of elephants in this thicket. You can see a little bit of a speck in the movement in the bush. And here's another one there. So it looks like they probably scattered all over in this wood, and this is how they do. They feel comfortable when they do that, as long as it's safe. But for them, in order for them to be able to feed comfortably, they need to do that. So you find 500 yards, 50 yards apart, so they don't push one another. Because you do find the older young male, they'll push the young one hard to get it out of their feeding habit, so that they can take over the bigger one. As you can see, this female looks like she's busy. You know, they've probably been standing the whole night around in this area. It's been a lot of tracks. But we just couldn't find them in time until we got them right now. See how they use the trunk. And it's such a beautiful big mammal out here. So see how you use the trunk. The trunk is always better for the elephant to when they bring the branches towards the mouth. See how the tusks also involve at the same time. And looks like a female looking at her herd, very square, and the tuskers very thinner. So looking at the cow, elephant, it's not yet very hot today, but we'll come to that during the day. I think it's going to be pretty much warm. Lisa, so elephant skin, it's very rough and strong. So could be around 2.6 inch. So, and thorn, if it's ever a thorn, doesn't penetrate too much through. I was just watching this elephant, but there's a bird alarm calling right in the back of her. Then she's so concerned. Look, she's now not happy because of that. I see there's some of them running across her. So yeah, they have a very strong skin. And the trunk itself also, it's very strong. So there's no thorn can go through in that. That's why they manage thorns, they manage everything.
From one animal with a very thick hide to another, Craig and I have managed to find a female giraffe. And she was just scratching herself on that little dead tree there next to her. But what really got our attention was the fact that she was looking, as she is now, quite intently into some of the bushes here. And now, of course, we are on that search for a female cheetah and her 2 cubs. And often when giraffe spot a predator... Oh, bit of a sneeze there from her. Often when giraffes spot a predator, they will stare fixedly at it. And you can, just by watching their body language and how they'll suddenly stiffen up and their ears will prick out to the side and they'll look very intently in the direction of the predator, often even going towards it. And we saw her from a distance, so we made our way here to see what she was looking at, but it appears that it was just a herd of impala that she'd seen. And the impala have now moved off and she's relaxed a little bit. It does appear that she's got a little youngster not far from here, but unfortunately it's gone off into some thick bush where we can't see it. So a bit of excitement, but unfortunately no sign of this cheetah just yet. Craig and I are going to carry on, see if we can find some tracks of her.
We're surrounded by a breeding herd. Lots of youngsters. Adults. But I just want to quickly show you something. You'll remember what we were looking at? I don't quite know what this is, and I know it won't seem very pleasant, but I'm just a little bit concerned. It looks like blood, or a lot of mucus mixed with blood hanging from this really young female. Are you okay, girl? She doesn't look pregnant. She is young. She's got her mammary glands are not too swollen. I just have no idea what it is, and I just wondered if any of you knew. Hello, little one. I see you. You've had a good inspection of our car, haven't you? trying to get a closer look to this female. She's got, I wonder if she's possibly had a miscarriage. She's got fluid all down her back leg. I think that's what it is. She's had a miscarriage. Wait till she turns around and we get sort of a back view. There's fluid all down her leg. Kirsten's seen a few of you also think miscarriage. That's what I think. Our mammary glands are really not full enough. I don't think it's birth, as in full-term birth. Yeah. We're going to get a view now. Yeah, there's all sorts of fluid down her leg, mucus. Sorry, the view's not that great. She's gone behind the vehicle. Oh, she's a young female, she's small. But she's definitely not a mother, not with those sort of empty mammary glands. If she was a mother, they would be much more swollen, much fuller. Oh, that's sad. I haven't actually seen that before. That's the back of our car, everyone. Excuse that. But she's obviously okay. She's out here. We're at Buffelshoek Dam, as you can see. And she's feeding. She's eating. She's had a drink. I think we missed them drinking, I'm afraid. But you can see we've still got some individuals coming up the dam wall. I've got enough room to go forward. I can't go back. All the elephants have moved away from the car, don't worry. Got lots of space on either side of us. A huge, monstrous one over there. Just gonna go forward. Why am I doing this? One, because these elephants are coming along the dam wall, and if they continue their trajectory, it means that they're gonna want to walk past us and we were in the way. You cannot block an elephant's path. So we're completely out the way now, and we're gonna get a view of them walking along the dam wall. My parking's pretty horrendous, Theo. Sorry about that. Ah, so lovely. I've just been in Swallow, as many of you know, and I did not see a single elephant. They don't have elephants down there. And I have to say, it's something that when you're used to seeing elephants, you miss. I kept thinking, is that an elephant? No, it's just a tree. Ah, elephant? No, just a bush. Okay, let's watch them walk towards us. Short trunk. That one's got a short trunk. The end of its trunk is missing. The prehensile tips, which allows them to grab, is missing. Oh, I wonder if that one's been caught in a snare. It's not a fresh injury or anything like that, but the tip of that trunk is missing. It's so nice to be in the middle of a herd, a social herd. And as I sit and watch them, why don't we go and learn some more about elephant social dynamics?
Elephants have fascinated us for so long because they display the same social complexities and full emotional range of our own human species. Female members live in herds while the bulls wander the wilderness as bachelors. Cows live in the same herd from birth until the end of their life, some 60 years later. The herd is led by the oldest and wisest female, the matriarch. With their floppy features, baby elephants have the cuteness edge over their human counterparts. Become boisterous when they hit puberty, and this irritates the matriarch. Once she's had enough, she will boot them out of the herd to find their own way in the world.
We're just watching this female in this large breeding herd drinking with a very short trunk. She's missing the tip of her trunk. The prehensile tips, African elephants have 2, Asian elephants only have 1, is missing. See, it's short. But she's managing absolutely fine. I was really curious to see if she would be able to drink water, but it's just like us drinking out of a straw. So she's sucking it up and then pouring it into her mouth, so she won't need the prehensile tips for that. But I wonder how she'll be able to feed, because elephants are known to grab the grass or whatever deliciousness with those prehensile tips that she is missing. And it could possibly be from a snare long ago. Who knows? And just over here, Theo, we've got 2 elephants having a little tussle. Now, they're youngsters. And youngsters are notorious for sort of having a little wrestle. They love annoying one another. So it's nothing aggressive. Oh, it wasn't too exciting. It seems like these youngsters are preoccupied with food.
Yeah, Isaac, stay right there, because you could be lucky to see those animals come across the river. Now, I got a type of lizard here, and I'm sure I've been asking you so many questions. And this lizard, I want us to find out, who do you think this is? Blue, as you can see in the color. Of course, the only one clue I can give you is because she's resting. I would say more he, because it's a male on a rock. I don't know whether that will give it away. As usual, tweet to us, CGT and Wild. Hashtag Wild Earth. And Cass in the final control says, is the Spider-Man lizard? Yes, Cass, you're correct. That's the nickname we give it, but its actual name, this is the rock agama. But very well done, Cass. This is the rock agama, and is a male. And during the breeding plumage, or when they're going through reproduction, Bianca, very well done, Bianca. You always get these things right. Very well done. And the rokagama, being some sort of reptile, the male in particular, when they're breeding, it's bright blue, and the head is always very red. And because he has to do that to excite the females, and you'd see them when they're on top of the rocks, when they're trying to court the females, how they keep knocking their heads up and down and moving them also sideways, left and right. They seem like to be tapping the rock, and the head gets bright red, and the tail and the abdomen bright blue. The rokagama, and you've got so many types of them here. But to me, this is the most colorful one, especially when you see them breeding. Females remain bluish. Good job, Bungay, for keeping up with him. You see what? You see that? Head up and down, left, right. And I can tell you there could be a female somewhere, but we cannot see. He is definitely trying to excite the female, but the females are brownish, grayish. They blend in very well on top of these rocks, but it's very easy to miss them. JT, the most colors they could change into, they have the blue, they have the red, and a bit of orange, I would say, and a bit of brown. Let's talk about 4 colors. But the dominant colors, JT, is the blue and the red. That blue you see there, it becomes very iridescent. The red is very bright, and the red is always on the head, from the shoulders going upwards. And then you'd see, the coating is quite something, just like looking at some birds, like the ostriches, when you see the males trying to excite the females by moving their wings. You'll get this rokagama moving their heads up and down, left and right. He keeps moving, sneaking from one point to the other, and not sure where that female is, because I do not see anything that should be making him nervous. Nothing, he could be running away from. We've seen some birds going for them, feeding on them, but not any predator in sight at the moment. Most likely he must have gotten the female, just disappeared there. Very good. Having gone, I will also move on, and my plan now is just to head to the river and find out what could be happening there. All right, now to the Mara River.
But no. Come back to this beautiful area with a giraffe. Looks like a female giraffe, where two of them, the young one just separate far from the distance. We can't have a look at it now. But the southern giraffe, browser, feed from tree that they have thorns. Look at the tongue that's sticking out of that animal. And that's how they do. Sort of separate thorns, hard thorn, and get the leaves only. Look at this. If you look at that thorn there, it's called buffalo thorn. It's very hooky thorn. But it's easy for giraffe because they have that very long tongue they use. Look at that. Tyler, why did the giraffe have a blue tongue? Some tongue of giraffe could be slightly brownish, pinkish, and of course all look different. But anyway, it's got to be that way because then it's very strong tongue, and they often, when they release the tongue, you see how long it is. It's about maybe 40-inch longer when they release it out of the mouth. And for that, it's designed to be stronger for purposes of feed on this hook thorn we just seen a giraffe was feeding on. And then if it was another animal, they wouldn't be able to do that. So that tongue's only designed for such animal. Look, it's kind of beautiful since we had a little bit of drizzling few days ago. The new shoots of green is coming up, and it will help for these kind of animal that they are browser, and many of time they don't really, spending time, feeding on grass. So you see giraffe moving often, trying to find their feed. But when I look now, it looks like she's going to move towards us. She stopped, shake around. Look at that, she scratched her legs and she moves again.
Now, talking of elephants with shorter trunks, like that female we saw earlier, elephants have a sort of really diverse range of communication tactics. And they're able to communicate through seismic communication. And basically, the very tip of an elephant's trunk, it's not this individual, by the way, I'm not sure where she's gone. It has layers and layers of specialized cells called Pacinian corpuscles. And basically, they're just mechanical receptors, and they're extremely sensitive to vibrations, and they're able to detect really subtle movements. So for that female that was missing the tip of her trunk, I wonder what that means for her. She definitely won't be able to grasp without those prehensile tips, but I also wonder what that means for her in terms of communication. Now, we often see an elephant with one leg up. Theo and I were actually just watching it, where they lift one sort of leg or one foot off the ground. Now, they're doing something called triangulation. That sounds very CSI or something you would hear in 24. But basically, they're listening, essentially. They're detecting subtle movements with those specialized cells that I just mentioned in the foot. And by raising one foot off the ground, they're able to triangulate the sort of movements that they're detecting and have a better understanding. Isn't that incredible? Those cells are concentrated in the front, very, very front of the foot, the toes, if you like, and the very, very back, the heel. And that's sometimes why they just lift one leg up and put the tip, the toes, on the ground. They're trying to listen, they're trying to detect what's going on through vibrations. These cells, these corpuscles, are actually found in other mammals as well, but I think elephants have the highest density of them in their trunk, in the very, very tip of their trunk. So the trunk as an organ is really, really sensitive for them and so important. I just wonder how that female will fare without that specialized tip. She will obviously have to adapt somehow. Ouch. Is that not painful? Now, although it's a sensitive organ, it's also got very, very thick skin, which is why they're able to push their head into all those thorns and spines and hooks, because the skin is so thick. Okay, so I'm going to try and keep up with this beautiful breeding herd for as long as I can.
So guys, have a look at this beautiful little bird. This is called a pygmy falcon. And this is probably the smallest little raptor that we have in this area. Beautiful, beautiful little guy. Ugh, it's not even as big as my hand. Really, really small. And you actually find what's particularly interesting about these little guys is you actually find them living inside the sociable weaver's nest. So those massive nests that we've been seeing in the big camel thorn trees and in the shepherd's trees, they actually go and they go and take up a vacant spot, and they live along the with the sociable weavers. They live in that nest, which, you know, to a certain extent is actually a positive for the little weavers, because this little guy will, you know, drive away or catch little snakes and lizards and so on that come in and try and get to the eggs or the chicks. Unfortunately, they also are one of those guys that will occasionally grab a chick of their own, or even an adult sociable weaver. But for the long run, it's better for the sociable weavers to have this little oak living, well, in the same home, but almost like a neighbor. Yeah, guys, it is a beautiful, beautiful bird. And, you know, I love the detail on this little guy. Well, I'm happy to hear that. I'm very happy to hear that you guys are updating the bird lists as well. Yeah, it's a constant thing that you have to do. Always good when you get a new lifer. But yeah, this is probably one of my favorite birds in the Kalahari. Just the cutest little thing. He looks like he's getting ready to maybe pop up and fly away. But yeah, guys, just to give you an idea about his size, he's probably the size of a can of Coke, if you had to think about the height. Maybe a little smaller. So with that being the case, they do feed quite a lot on insects and like big moths and those types of things. So Ruby, the type of tree that he's in, Ruby just asked, the tree type that it's sitting in, it's a camel thorn tree. So we get two types of camel thorn trees that we have in this area. The common camel thorn, the one that we're looking at right now, and then also the grey camel thorn. So the common camel thorn is actually a very characteristic trademark of the Kalahari. You find them growing into these massive, massive trees within those sociable weavers' nests that are built in it. Very strong wood, so very good structure for the weavers to build their nests in, but not only for the weavers. A number of different animals will make this their home. Woodpeckers and starlings and all of those things. But yeah, also a very palatable tree, so you'll find that the giraffe love feeding on them. The kudus, they love their seed pods. Actually, quite an interesting thing about the camel thorn trees, in dry years, the farmers in the Kalahari actually back in the day would collect the seed pods of the camel thorn tree and feed that to their cattle or their livestock during really, really bad periods when there's no grazing around and so on. Very, very nutritious, those seed pods. So yeah, camel thorn tree that the little pygmy falcon is sitting in. And it's one of the trademark species of plants or of trees in the Kalahari. I love these trees. So Bianca, you're absolutely right. We just had a comment from Bianca. This bird looks very close to a kestrel, and yes, definitely. The shape and the structure or the gist of the bird is definitely that of a kestrel's. But then also, I mean, if you look at any type of falcon, there he goes. Any type of falcon, you'll have that general shape and structure or framework of the bird being very much alike. So a lot of the kestrels, the falcons, the goshawks, those types of things will all more or less have the same shape and size. You know, that aerodynamic head with a small but sharp beak, and then that typical, almost like a compact body to be able to swoop down and create great speeds while they're diving to be able to outrun or, to catch their prey. So, very, very important for them to have that particular build. And you're absolutely right. It does look like a kestrel.
Beautiful coming back to this Joma Private Game Reserve with such a beautiful creature that sometimes I was not really sure. It's a long time since I've seen hyena lying inside the water, but they do that. This is a spotted hyena that is taking it easy in a little shell of water this time of the day. Of course, I've seen also wild dog do the same. So I don't have a problem with water. So only those I have a problem with the water will be a true cat, lion, leopard. They would contact with water when they have to, but not necessarily only to drink and then move off. But spotted hyena, they do that just for themselves, to cool themselves off. It's been pretty much, it's already late for them to go up hunting now, so this is the time they are nocturnal. So it's probably going to be sticking around here for a few hours, cooling off, and eventually it's going to move into a thicket. Dead, yes. You can see it truly spotted that shows up in the animal. So they're well built with, height front and low back. The reason for that, this animal, they're scavengers. They're always behind the big cats. They're behind the lion, behind the leopard, steal from small other predators as well. But, they're well capable of dragging or, carrying up carcasses back to the den from long way off. And for that, they don't get tired. And that's why they will build up in that kind of a shape they got. And of course, there's only one here that we can see. It's probably that they all separated. This was because of maybe hunting, always in packs, but there's a time where they will separate. One delayed to move on and eventually left behind. It looks like a full-grown male, just looking at the size of the animal and the color. It's already showing that it's actually a fully grown animal. So when they're young, still the fur, the coat is not that much golden like this. So it's kind of like a lighter brownie, but we're looking at the fully grown spotted hyena.
We're just watching this mother, I presume, and a youngster feeding. Now, they're both standing in the exact same position, and it's interesting because remember I mentioned earlier, so sometimes you'll see an elephant cross its legs. Mostly it's back ones, and it's not triangulating then, it's not listening, it's literally just resting. Have you ever stood for a really, really long time and you start to think, oh, my legs are tired, and you cross your legs and you relieve your right foot, put all the weight on the left foot. And then you'll change and you'll relieve your left foot and put all your weight on your right foot just to balance it out a bit because of your body weight. Elephants do the same thing. They're heavy, so they sometimes just cross that leg in order to, relieve some of the pressure that goes on in their feet. But when you see, I'll actually just show you now that you're on me. Let's pretend this is an elephant's foot and this is the toes. When they stand and they just lift one up like this, they've still got their toes on the ground. That's when they're listening, because the concentrated area of cells is in their toes. So they purposely do this to listen to what's going on around them. Now, no one's listening right now because everyone is feeding. Listen. And when they lift their foot completely off the ground, that's when they're triangulating. So there's different ways that an elephant will stand depending on what it's doing. Some gas here, everyone. I apologize. It's not coming from the vehicle. This female's having a little bit of difficulty with her tummy. Kruger Fanatic, you're asking, are the muscles in an elephant's trunk the same as an... Oh, you could hear it. Yes. Did you enjoy it? I hope. The same as an octopus tentacle. Now, I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that. I'm guessing maybe you mean the numbers of muscles, because an elephant's trunk has an incredible amount of muscles. Now, it's said to have over 40,000 muscles, which can be divided into as many as 150,000 individual units. Now, if you compare that to the human body, it contains 639 muscles. Yes. So you can really start to understand how intricate this appendage of an elephant really is. So if you're referring to the number of muscles, I actually do not know the number of muscles in a octopus tentacles, but I don't believe they're similar in any way, shape, or form. I really don't think so. And of course, neurons, so the octopuses' brain cells are found in the tips of their tentacle. So they don't have a brain as such, and the neurons are spread out through all of the 8 tentacles, which is absolutely incredible and slightly baffling in all shapes and forms. And that's why octopus intelligence is so hard for us to get our head around, really. But as for the muscles, I'm not entirely sure, I'm afraid. Where are you going with that entire branch? I don't think it wants to eat this branch. As you see, look at the back legs, it's resting. Oh, it was, sorry. It was just resting that back right leg there. I'm going to try and find one that really is triangulating and show it to you. Animal rights, you're asking, do elephants have more muscles than fat on their body? I think that was your question. I'll just make sure from Kirsten that I'm answering it correctly. Yes, they do. They have far more muscles, and they will have layer of fat. Fat is very important for any single organism in the natural world. The good fats, of course, I'm not talking about the fats that us humans put into our body. That's something entirely different. But natural good fats are really important for brain function, for development, and that's why a lot of the mammalian milk, especially hyenas, are rich in fats and fatty acids because it's important. So they will have fat essentially in their body, but nothing like the human fat that we carry in all areas of our body, especially around our waist, known as adipose tissue, but they have far more muscles, yes. And of course, they have absolutely no bones in that trunk. It just is only muscles. When you look at a sort of X-ray shot of an elephant, they have an entire skeleton, and then where the trunk should be, there's just nothing because there's no bones. But yes, their body will contain fat. But with us humans, we consume a lot of the wrong types of fat, and it can end up building around our organs, which leads to many health problems in humans. But good fats are important for all species, or let's just say mammals at this stage. Oh, it's so lovely to see elephants. I've just sent a photo of them to Davi because I know he's missing them. Okay, once again, I'm going to try and keep up with this herd for this morning for as long as I can.
Well, good job, Lauren. Stay with the herds of elephants. Elephants are my favorite animals, and I've said many times again and again, any day I see elephants is a good day. Now, we've got herds of hippos here, and some herds of zebras. And what I've noticed, some zebras are slowly and surely approaching the river. They haven't gotten close, but there are 2 that are leading the group. And I've noticed every time they move, the other ones behind move. They stop, the rest behind them also stop. Not that the 2 are the leaders, but we have seen that happen many times. When you have the lead group just moving, everyone or all of them will end up in the river. Now that is the herd of zebras, and behind them, if you look carefully, you're going to see a herd of wildebeest. And these are the 2 main species of animals that cross the Mara River during the migration. See how the wildebeest blend in with the rocks there. Unlike the zebras that are black and white, you could easily pick them up. Little Vixen, you want to know why they choose the wrong place to cross, where we have the rapids. Now, people have been following these animals for very many years. And I can tell you, nobody has come up with a very good answer to know why they choose certain places to cross the river. Look at those rapids there. Excuse me, the rapids there, definitely we got so many rocks there, and that's why we have the rapids. But also, we could be having crocs in there, and they choose to cross from there. Now, that's one dangerous place to cross from, because what happens as they come crossing, they are going to fracture their legs, Rosa Hippo, and the crocs will take advantage of that to catch some. Now, there are certain locations also they choose that are very steep with a very high gradient. And you wonder, of all the other low places, low water levels they choose to cross from, they take such dangerous areas. So I would say it has been very difficult even for us to know why they choose certain areas. And more often than not, the dangerous places, tricky to cross, and once in the water, it also becomes difficult for them to climb on the other end too. But they still go back to the same place, year in, year out. You can hear the rapids. Now, this morning I've been coming to this particular crossing point most of the mornings, and I have always been seeing the wildebeest leading the herd, but today it seems the zebras have taken charge. It may continue like this until they cross, or sometimes you may see things changing and zebras going back and the wildebeest coming in the front to lead in the cross. As I've said many times before, patience is key here.
So here we decided to leave our hyena bathing, and we find a monitor lizard right in this mound. So you just spot him. Looks like he's probably trying to get active, because they are dino animal. So it looks like it's awake really. You can see that. Checking on us. And a very tough creature. Yeah, I agree. It's big actually. Look at this mouth. And I know it's not actually yawning, but you can able to see the mouth and the entire body of that animal. Sure, look at that. Maybe, it was sleeping in one of these mounds, but for them to able to get up hunting, they knew to do that. So they walk carefully. They go for a small snake, go for eggs, anything they find, go for, millipede, a lot of stuff they'll feed on during the day. But they always have to be careful with eagles up in the air. But the reason they're vulnerable to eagles is because they normally freeze. When they hear something, they freeze, even they know they're in an open area. They don't immediately, vanish into a thicket. So this is where, but marshall eagle, the biggest eagle we get around here, is the one who would deal with such a thing like this. And of course, leopard also would hunt. Yeah, I did. Looks like a remain of one of these dinosaurs all the days. And, looking at the head of a shape, you would think of your Komodo dragon as well. He was trying to look at his eye. it's going to move. No, but so bigger monitor lizard I've seen, they don't actually reach a meter. If they ever, then it's a bigger one. But that's average size. Size for this animal. So, but the tail tend to be very long. So, look like this must be a male, which female lot bigger looking. And yeah, they don't really grow like a crocodile, 2 meters, anything like that, no. And it's gonna sun up there eventually, I think. Looking around first for a safety. Looking up. When I look up there, I don't see any bird of, prey or anything, but it's so important that we do that. I'm gonna reposition the car, see if we can see his face a little bit. So look at that, eh? Hopefully it's gonna stick around in this mound for a couple of hours, sunning up before the vanish for a hunt.
There's elephants everywhere, so I'm just driving really slowly. There's some youngsters here. I just need to be careful how we drive and once again not block any of the elephants' pathways. So at this stage it's better to just stay behind them. Won't be the best views, but safety first. And James Richard, thank you. As always, you have informed me that elephant trunks, our tongues, and octopus tentacles are all muscular hydrostats, so they are similar. Thank you so much, James. I will do more research on that. Octopus tentacles are fascinating, but I only know them from an intelligence neural point of view, not a muscular point of view. So I've got my research mapped out for today. And that's why it's so hard for a youngster to use his trunk. We always tell you this. An elephant is not born with the ability to sort of maneuver and properly use its trunk. And that's because it's such a complex organ. Human children have to learn how to write, and it's not easy. We go through years of learning how to hold a pen and write the letters of the alphabet. It's exactly the same for an elephant calf. It's got to learn how to control all these muscles and units in its trunk. And not only is it controlling the muscles, but the sense of smell, the olfactory capabilities are incredible in those turbinals. Oh, hello. I hate to tell you, but you're not very good at camouflaging yourself. We can see you. Now we can definitely see you. Young elephants are just adorable. Oh, is this Mama? Now you better behave, little one. Mama's here. Definitely Mama. I Okay, because these elephants are going off into the thicket, I think I'm going to bumble on and see what else we can find.
Hello, welcome back. And this is what I just came across. The Owino 3, the Owino girls. And there are 3 of them over here. They're actually out on the hunt, and looks like they haven't eaten anything. Yes, it looks like they haven't eaten anything for the last 4 days, 5 days now, and they're looking very, very desperate. I don't know, why they haven't made a kill, but it looks like something is really, really gone wrong with them. Yeah, that they haven't made a kill. I feel sorry for them. They're out in the plains. There is plenty of warthogs, but I think they have been making the same old mistakes. Pouncing before they Yeah, I'm gonna sit here and see if they're gonna do something, but they're quite desperate.
Back in this, our monitor lizard, the rock monitor lizard, it's called, and it's the only lizard you find on land, moving around. Which also we had a different one, which is a water monitor lizard that you only see around the water hole because they mean to be in the water. So these species, they live on land. Sometimes you find them a rocky area under a rock, on top of the rock, because this is where they sleep in cave. But of course they can make their own burrow as a home around a mound or on soft land, especially for the females. But in a hole itself, in one of these fork of the tree, this is where they hide for the night. They're highly awake. It's like, oh no, it's true, I'm awake. Got to see those external ears, holes that's just behind these eyes.
Welcome back, guys. And yes, I was talking about I found the same 3 Owino girls that I've been trying to get something for the last 5 days. Looks like everything has been going wrong because they look very desperate, more desperate than yesterday. They're not hungry, they're not starving, but they need to eat something. That is, I think, the most experienced female. She has come across that old abandoned termite mouse, and she's using it as an advantage to, focus her sharp eyesight onto something. They are not resting, you can tell. They are looking, they are desperate. They really want a meal. It's a matter of life and death in the next coming days, because the more they stay without eating, the more desperate they get, and it means, it's dangerous, because if they come across something big, they won't be able to bring it down. So they need to eat something quite soon. All of them are here. I think that's the pale one way back there. She's very different from the others. Hopefully they will come onto this termite mound and we can have a portrait of them, 3 together. That would be really, really nice. But looks like that one is taking a different decision. She wants to turn to the right and go her own way. Okay, looks like she's gone down, the female, so no more portraits. You can tell just close to her hind leg, that area there, the tummy is really lean. Yeah, they still have enough power to bring down a very big animal. And I am hoping that, today they will get something. It's been very interesting, following them for the last few days to see if they get to hunt. Now I can tell that they are not very good in bringing down warthogs, or maybe the warthogs have become too smart, or they've hunted too many wildebeest during the migration. They've forgotten how to hunt warthogs. Yes, I think, because of this situation where prey has eluded the predator, maybe let's learn more about the interaction between predator and prey.
Following the rains, millions of zebra, wildebeest, and Thompson's gazelle stream out of the Serengeti and into the Maasai Mara. Scaled and tawny predators alike lurk as the herds prepare to take the plunge into the Mara River. The desire for greener pastures is overwhelming, pushing the herds to cross, determined no matter the danger. For some, determination is not enough. For others, they emerge soaked and scarred, but successful. But there's no time for celebrations, as back on dry land await a different kind of predator. The lions of the Mara have been waiting for the bounty the migration brings them. The tired travelers, having exhausted the day negotiating the river's currents, must now make it through the night. As darkness falls, predators descend. This is also a time of plenty for them.
Yeah, welcome back. They have left the area they were and they're out in the open. Very interesting, to learn that. And now you can agree that it is not easy being a lion. Everybody is afraid of you. Everybody runs away from you. For you, everybody is always looking out for you because they know they are on the menu, and they hope that they could starve you until you die and you don't exist. And so they do. They do better than everybody else. This is how tough it is for the lion and lionesses out here. They really work hard. Look at how desperate she is. She's got her eyes focused forwards, the ears pointed forwards. I'm sure all her senses are working because it is desperate times now, and desperate times call for desperate measures. So anything in front of her, even a scrub hair, it will be dealt with in a very bad way. So you don't want to be the prey right now in front of these three girls. They are out on the prowl, and they can go after anything right now. They will go for it. Even buffalo, they might try even to bring it down if it's not like a really healthy one. Yeah, looks like they are crossing over the road and heading out more into the grass, hoping to spot a warthog. Look at that, the pose. They are listening, they are looking. Yeah, remember, this is live. It's coming from the Mara Triangle in the Maasai Mara. Yeah, you can continue talking to us. Hashtag CGTNWild, hashtag Wild Earth. Yeah, quick questions and comments are really welcome. I hope you're enjoying this. I am enjoying myself, and also I'm learning quite a lot from, how to be a lion or a lioness. Yes, that's a pale one there. Yeah, that's one of the other ones. Could be butternut, I think. Could be her. But I haven't seen her for quite a while. But it's very interesting because they have been all by themselves, and we have been quite lucky to be coming across them. And you know, for some reason they've been popping every time I'm driving. They've been everywhere because the area, you know, I'm seeing them today, I've never seen them here. So it means they do walk long distances.
Right, we're still sitting at Ndlovu Dam. We've done a whole circuit of the whole reserve, trying to see what's moving about, but strangely quiet on Pride Lands this morning. There was reports of a female cheetah and her cubs that came in on our northern boundary. We could not find her, unfortunately. Maybe Taylor will be more lucky this afternoon. Oh, there's a giraffe just peeking its head out there by that leadwood. That's quite cute, just to the right there. So these giraffes are here by the waterhole, just enjoying themselves, maybe coming down to drink. Of course, it moved behind the bushes now. Maybe going to come and have a drink. It is warming up now, but they're just enjoying the fact that the waterhole is quiet at the moment. But we had a lot of activity here last night. There was a leopard that walked through our camp. I suspect it's probably Pixie Pan female and her youngsters. The monkeys kept us up for about an hour last night, in the middle of the night, about 10, 11 o'clock, I think. I can't remember. Very, very noisy. But everything seems to be all quiet now. Just waiting the last few minutes to see if anything comes down. We actually hoped. We know that cheetahs can cover huge distances, even with youngsters, to come to waterholes like this. And this waterhole is directly in line with where she was reported to have been moving. So maybe she'll turn up and have a drink just before resting during the hottest part of the day. Our fingers are crossed anyway. These giraffes will definitely give us a heads up if a cheetah turns up. You'll see them staring at them. They wouldn't be too afraid. A cheetah is not going to be hunting a giraffe, especially not a big male giraffe this size, but it could still get pretty interesting. Ponytail giraffes will eat as much as they can, as much as possible, especially at this time of year when there isn't a whole lot of green stuff to feed on. So what they'll do is now, when it's not too hot, these giraffes will be picking as much green leaves as they can, or much vegetation as they can, and then they'll go and lie in the shade or sit in the shade or stand in the shade somewhere out of the sun, and they'll ruminate, regurgitating food back up their long necks. I don't know if you saw a couple of days ago. We had a really good view of it doing that. And they'll continue to digest their food in the shade. So it might not be physically going out and picking leaves that much, but they'll be eating and digesting the whole day long, especially at this time of year when the food is not of a very high quality. In the height of spring or summer, when everything is green, they could probably spend a lot less time feeding because they'll be getting more nutrients per mouthful, if that makes sense. Well, this giraffe is quite content feeding on this buffalo thorn. We're just going to hang out at the dam and see what else might turn up.
Welcome back. I have repositioned and just wanted to share this beautiful female lioness of the Owino Pride. She has decided to sit in a very interesting way, and I think rejuvenate her lost energy from walking in this long grass for quite a while, and watch her sisters. They were quite far from her. Remember, they're not walking in a single file. They are walking in a very wide pattern. It's like flanking. They're quite wide apart from each other, and I think with this kind of walk, they're increasing chances of them, making a kill if they do spook something in the grass. This girl is following from behind, quite long away. That is Pale. She's the most lighter one of all of them. You can actually, of course, notice, her coat is very different. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing, what they're going to do but there is nothing much towards where they're heading. But you never know. Like I said, 1 minute there can be something, there can be nothing in front, and next minute there is something, and that's why sometimes they need to rest. Yeah, that's why sometimes you just see them rest, and for 5 minutes they just put their heads up. Yes, just like everybody else, I'm hoping they can get a meal, because it's going to get worse if they don't eat today. It is going to get really bad. I'm glad the male is nowhere nearby, because I don't know what they're going to kill. But if they kill something small, the male would have taken it. I'm hoping that he's not around when they get it. Yeah, you can tell the body language is very different. It's not normal like, the lions we show you sometimes here in the Mara or in the Juma or Pinda or, Pride Lands, where they are zonked out. So they are just asleep. They can hardly maintain the breathing. Over here, it's desperate. They are very desperate. Heads up, ears forward, eyes focused, looking in the long grass to see that warthog tail walking across. That's what they're looking for. And it can be very exciting if we saw that right now, because I'm almost guaranteed we're going to see a hunt or a failed hunt. But there is nothing else I can do apart from follow, watch, and wait.
I don't know why Isaac is very lucky with those lions, because he takes the same road that I take every time, and he sees them and I miss them. Either there's something between him and them. Well, who knows? Sometimes it's a question of being luck. And that's how things play out here in the African wilderness. But some hippos there, I'm not sure they're blocking these animals from crossing the river. I highly doubt. They have crossed many times, even with the hippos on their way. And I'll just maybe request all of you, we keep holding thumbs that we're going to see a crossing here at one point today. But more hippos that now have come out of the water. And the herds are still debating what time exactly to cross. The times it takes us hours for us to see that. And there are times also it takes us just a couple of minutes to see them come, crowd, push each other, build enough pressure, boom, and they all cross. One of the most exciting crossing I ever saw here were not these two species of animals you're watching, but toppies. And I saw them like from 1 kilometer away, and they came trotting, they came running, they came chasing each other. There were about 15, 20 of them. And they came straight in the water, plunged themselves in, and crossed the water to the other side. That was exciting. It wasn't long, it was not more than 5 minutes crossing, but it was good fun. Now this is a huge number, and if they all choose to cross, we might be seeing them crossing for the next maybe 15, 20 minutes non-stop. Enjoying the rapids. I'm not sure exactly at what point they're going to cross. And it has been another wonderful morning on the safari here in East Africa and South Africa on this digital safari, courtesy of CGTN. And we'll continue watching these animals to see if they're going to cross. And your questions and comments have given us lots of joy. We cannot thank you enough for that. And the good news are, we'll be right back here again tomorrow for another digital safari. Always very difficult to know when they are going to cross. But again, patience, sit here, wait, watch until it happens. Come on guys, you can do it. Build the courage. You can cross if you want to. But on behalf of everybody, I will say thank you very much for everything. And remember to join us again here tomorrow, same place, same time. Goodbye.